Welcome to Benno and Hamflett In Your House, a podcast reviewing WWE's iconic New Generation B shows in order from the bust back to the boom. I'm Michael Hamflett.
And I'm Benno. I'm Michael. It's In Your House 7. It's Good Friends, Better Enemies. We're coming from Omaha, Nebraska, and you might actually be there, or I might be there. But we're here, and we're back for an In Your House review. How's it going, mate? Where are you? Where am I? Do we even know at this point?
Well, yeah, I'm insanely jealous of you because you get to be somewhere other than where you'd normally be, whereas I am sadly right back where I belong. I think like we're both good friends with travel and better enemies with the UK, so you win this round.
Oh, but I went to a mall today. I'm over in Bangkok, Thailand, and we are reliant on actually very strong internet here. It's a lot better than I get back at home. So if things look different, sound a bit different for the first couple of shows, we're gonna iron all the kinks out. But yeah, I was out today there's a mall called Terminal 21 in Bangkok. It's got the cheapest food court in Bangkok. You can get like a meal for about 66p. If you really want to go that low for a bowl of chicken and noodles, you can get all kinds of smoothies, coffees, and stuff like that. But the mall itself's got like a British section, and you go in there, and it's literally like going to like a Fed Raw from like any point in the 2010s, where there's like red telephone box, there's a black taxi cab, there's a red bus. It's all of that stuff. I'm walking around, and I was like, yeah, I'm not ready to return to this yet. I think I might just extend and stay in Bangkok a little bit longer. I don't need to go back.
No matter where you look, there's a William Regal match, whether you want one or not. Just like
pretty much, yeah. That's what you get, and it's not good.
66 pence. I know. I am basically living like a Greg's depression my way through my jet lag, and I'm like, it's setting me back. Like, well, you'd say that, right? But for your 66p dinners, like they're breaking £2 with some of the sausage rolls and pasties at this point. Like you don't miss it as much as you think you do. I promise you.
No, they're slowly increasing those prices. I've actually got, with my Monzo bank account, I've still got it, and I get a free Greg's once a week. I'll gift it to you, mate. Maybe that'll make it go a little bit easier. If I can't have it, I feel like you should. I think that's the only fair. I think you'd be the fair and reasonable owner of that. You can get yourself a coffee, you can get yourself a sausage roll, or you can get yourself a vegan sausage roll. I imagine you'll just get a sausage roll with it. But the options are endless.
You were the one, like it was your mention of the free Greg's that convinced me to do the Monzo perks upgrade, because I did the maths on it, and I was like, well, hang on, I'm definitely going to use that free coffee every week, and that's £2 a shot each time. Like it was legit free. I think I've used the cinema one a couple of times as well. Like look, we'll welcome Monzo on as a sponsor. I'll take the Monzo money at this point.
Oh, Greg's.
If they want to come on and sponsor Benno and Hamflett. Oh, Greg, yeah, Greg. Oh. I might as well go to the source.
They could post them out. Maybe I could find a way to get. It is a sad thing to say. It is the one food that I am missing while I'm all the way out here. I was going to say the other thing that doesn't seem to know where we are in the world as well is fucking Netflix. Then obviously we're going to be reviewing Good Friends, Better Enemies today, and we're kind of tabling. We're going to have a big old catch up on our different travels, your US travels, and all of that good stuff on the next Housekeeping. But try telling that to Netflix. I was trying to load up In Your House 7. Today, firstly, when I was trying to log in, it was fine. Netflix is global, isn't it? You can get the Fed globally on Netflix in any country you're in. Thought it wouldn't be a problem. Tried to log in. I've got the ad supported account, and it was like, fuck you poor bastard. We don't have an ad supported account in the country you're in, therefore you can't watch anything you want. Then I got on a VPN. What? I managed to try and realized I was like, okay, I'll have to change to another location. Googled it. There's only 8 locations across the world that also carry the ad-supported Netflix plan. So I had to narrow it down to one of them. Then I'm literally at this point, I'm like drawing an Excel spreadsheet out. I'm looking at like, okay, so there's 8 countries that I think America's one of them. That one's ruled out because you don't get to be on there. I think Mexico's in there, Germany's in there. And then I had to like cross-reference that with, okay, there's 8 countries who take the Netflix ad-supported plan. But then which of those countries actually have WWE on Netflix or have their own deals, and which of those countries in the smaller pool can I actually get a VPN to and get to work? And basically I gave up in the end. Billy ended up first name Billy, last name Billy, cracking bloke, managed to sort me out with a link to watch In Your House 7. But if anybody's got any solutions for it, as we are globetrotting people, I'm gonna need it. I thought it'd be the easiest thing in the world to just pop Netflix on anywhere in the world to watch them In Your House, but apparently not. Maybe I'll figure it out by the next time.
Did you ever imagine at any point back in the sort of the dark days, let's say, of the mid 2000s, when we'd be on the UKFF and every bit of wrestling you loved was hard to acquire, was on at the wrong time of day, was on a service that you couldn't dream of having from your Sky Digital box in your own house, and now somehow it's the other way around, and you are actually missing a UK version of a streaming service. Is this a first?
Honestly, and even like I say, the American version won't work. It's these artificial lines that have been drawn across the world. It's like when you're like, I used to be big on like, I fell out of love with physical media. I've had to fall back in love with physical clash while I've been out in Bangkok. I used to buy films on the internet. I used to pay money for them to have them in my personal library, only for the individual companies to either shut down or move on or tell you don't own that film anymore. They can do whatever they want online. That's what I've learned today. It's not a fair world out there. Physical. I shouldn't have given all me In Your House tapes to Matt. I actually have. After saying that, yeah, I had In Your House 7 on tape. I've used it as a prop here before. I think I used it on the last Housekeeping. Should have just pushed that in my suitcase with all the other valuables. It's worth something at this point.
Matty's played a blinder man. He sold it to me for 50 quid. He said he was going to give you a tenner. Like he's.
Worst part, he told me he sold you for 25 quid and he was going to give you the fiver. That's how Matty. That's how he works. But no, I managed to at least find a way to watch it. I know you've watched the Netflix version. I've got the hooky version, but I think we've seen all the same things on our travels. Obviously, the show itself is coming from Omaha, Nebraska. I joked before, but was that ever on your itinerary while you were in America? Is Nebraska a place you've ever wanted to visit? I remember the film with the same name. It was black and white. That's all I really remember about it. Don't really know much about Omaha, really. I imagine fields. I can't really picture much else. Can't imagine you had a driverless car taking you there.
No, sadly not. I mean, Nebraska is now on my list simply by virtue of being a state I haven't set foot in yet. It feels like I've never been much of I've not got your traveling bent really, but I do have it a little bit from America. And now I think I'm up to something like 10 states, and it's like, right, I've just turned 40. I've got enough time to get to all. I've got to hit those 40 states. And the one thing I do know about Omaha now is tied to wrestling, because I understand, thanks to a certain C. Irvine, that they do pretty good steaks. I feel like I've had that advert pummeled into me over the years when re-listening to the John Moxley Emancipation interview on old episodes of Talk Is Jericho.
Oh, God, yeah.
That, like, with all of the adverts, it's got to be worth the trip if just for the meat.
I reckon that you get good sides as well, good plentiful portions if we know the Yanks there. What would your side choices be? Bit of mashed potato? Would you go for? I know you're not a sauce man. Excess potato. Is that what we're going with?
I like plenty. Like I was going to say plenty of potato, but I found even just recently, like the cliches remain true. You can go to the appetizer menu and order something off there that is an entire meal, can't you? Like if you want like an appetizer at like selection of fries, you're getting 2 plates worth of fries. So anything potato based, I'm getting more than I need, and then anything else is a bonus. If I'm going with you, like you can pick. It's like our KFC thing from the other month. You can pick a condiment, and we'll just both get to be winners off the back of it. It's Benno, I can't do this. I'm sorry.
Perfect.
I enjoy the crack about this normally, but I'm missing it too much. I was thinking about like I got lost in a thought there about how like every night I would just like right around now, tea time, America time, the basketball would be starting, and I'd just sit at the bar with a plate full of food with 3 screens in front of me with different sports playoffs on, and then like various different local beer. I'm going to cry. Can we talk about the wrestling, please? I need
beloved
Timberwolves.
Oh
my God. They're still in. As of this recording, they're still in.
Canada's the same way. Like my favorite thing in the world was just to go to it. I didn't care what sports were on. At one point there was like bullfighting on, or there was like the literal Canadian Stampede, the Calgary Stampede was just on the screen, and they were fucking putting ropes around like the feet of cows, I assume it was, and it's just there, and I'm sat there eating a plate of buffalo wings going, this is the life, they know how to do this proper stuff, beer coming whenever you like, click your fingers. Sorry, I'm making this worse.
I was stunned.
God's country, mate.
No, it's all going to be in the next deluxe Housekeeping when we talk non-stop like this, but I was stood on the upper deck bit of the Calgary Saddle Dome, the site of In Your House Canadian Stampede. I was crying, and I was looking, and like it was high enough that you can see into the rodeo stadium next door to the Saddle Dome, and it's just this like, it just looks like one half of a racetrack, but instead of grass, it's sand. And yeah, I'm thinking what you're saying. Like, well, later on they're going to tie some cows up. I just felt like Canada. I was staring. I got one more story. Sod it. I had a bet with Phil and Adam Nicholas, which you can listen to Phil and Fed's excellent adventure on our podcast feed for a bit more detail. That I couldn't eat 4 poutines in a day, and I did. And I got $100 worth of Calgary Hitmen and Stampede Wrestling merchandise out of it. So we were there to go to the shop, and I bought myself a Calgary Hitmen t-shirt with the hockey team's logo on and the Hitman branding up the sides. So, and I got 4 poutines. It was win-win for me,
I think this just turns into housekeeping now. I want to ask you about the Hart family house. I want to ask you more about Brett's pub. I'm just imagining that like Calgary is just like, I can't picture it being anything else. I can't picture there being like an actual city where people live. I just picture Hart Dungeon, I picture that bar, I picture Calgary Stampede, and that's it. And it's just space in the middle of it. That's all it is. None of the rest of it actually matters. It's not a living, breathing city that people are actually in.
That's what it looked like to me. That's like I was like a playable GTA character where there was only certain buildings that you could enter, and those were the ones I needed.
Beautiful. Oh, I can't wait to hear all about it. And obviously, we'll have to talk as well about obviously meeting up in Belfast as well. That's happened since we last recorded too as well. Yeah, honestly, me and Adam Nicholas became best friends overnight over a Love of Lost in Translation. Right, yeah. It was found ourselves at a bar. We were like a bar late. We were sat in a Belfast chipper at like 4 a.m. ordering a burger and chips. It's all happened since we last recorded. Jesus Christ, yeah. But basically, set yourselves down, folks. The next day, Housekeeping's going to be up 3 hours. I think that's pretty much the plan going forward.
Yeah, I say this. Let this be the call out now for a 5-star match review, but don't think you get them on read out on the next one because it's just me and Benno being a couple of dickheads talking about the place we've been to, just naming venues for an hour basically.
That's what we'll do, 100%. Well, none of those venues, unfortunately, will be at the Omaha Civic Auditorium, but maybe at some point in future. That is the show we are here, unfortunately, to talk about today, from April 28th, 1996, in the aftermath, I suppose, of WrestleMania 12, which of course we talked about on the last Housekeeping. Check it out if you didn't. That came out in the aftermath of WrestleMania. Also a thing that happened since we last recorded. So if you haven't already, check that out. But yeah, in the start of the Shawn era, mate, it got 9,563 people packed into the Omaha Civic Auditorium. 165,000 buying the pay-per-view at home. Business is booming, mate. Shawn's on top, and all is right in the world.
Well, what can possibly go wrong? I mean, it's not like, WCW have had a good run with Nitro, but that's going to come to an end any day now. They're like, people are getting sick of Hulk and the Dungeon of Doom. They want what they want, and this has been made evident through history, is they want quality wrestling like Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels that will always outdraw WCW. And like, if I'm in the WWF at this point, it's just all sunny days ahead. I can't see a cloud in the sky.
This is like when you watch, when you watch a series back. I do this often with like The Wire or Sopranos, and you kind of, like one of your favorite characters. I won't do any spoilers here for these 20-year-old shows, but one of your favorite characters is about to die. But because you're rewatching it, it's kind of, there's definitely a part of your brain that's thinking, but maybe it won't happen this time. Maybe maybe I'm misremembering and that's not the way it goes. Maybe the NWO never come out on top. Maybe the Clique never leave. Maybe things all come up, Shawn, in the summer of 1996. If we rewatch it hard enough, maybe all our collective memories are wrong. Maybe we can. There's a Black Mirror episode in that somewhere. I reckon it could be a thing.
An alternative timeline where instead the Clique just stick around and like WWE continues to be poisoned backstage and like Steve Austin just gives up trying. He's just like sick of it.
And it'd be better for it, wouldn't it? Ahmed Johnson is the World Heavyweight Champion and all of the everything is right in the world. It's the way it should have gone. But unfortunately, those sliding doors don't take place, and we are here to discuss the In Your House 7 card as it did, in fact, on the night, and also wind up on tape. I've got this beautiful VHS tape, which I believe I do still own, based on Matty's eBay history, which I've been checking and refreshing every 24 hours. But I think it's still out there. But pride to place this one, mate. This show is one of the ones that I watched and rewatched once I eventually managed to get the tape. But I'm not saying I got the tape at any point in the 90s. don't even think it was in the 2000s. It was probably the 2010s before I managed to get my hand on this beauty in a loving charity shop near me. But yeah, it's pride of place, always in my background in my little studio that I had at home, propped up. And I think, don't know, is it the colours? Is it the blue mixed with pink? Is it the rogue orange? Is it Shawn and Diesel looking at $1 million on here? This is the most, they finally got Saki Diesel right. It's not a render from 1995. He's rolling his eyes. He's looking at that little bit cool. Shawn's in full world champion regalia here as well. It's a lovely specimen.
There's a lot to love about this. I feel like this wasn't one I saw much in Woolworths, but I definitely remember seeing it on the back of Power Slam. And like we've talked about this before, but the 15 rating, like this may as well have been ECW for all, like to see that 15 rating back on the videos. And this wouldn't, this wouldn't be the first. I think we was Seasons Beatings maybe a 15, and obviously the granddaddy of them all. Was WrestleMania 13 getting the 18?
Oh, 13.
So like 13 having the 18 rating on. Like, yeah, you may as well have been going into Woolworths and trying to buy like hardcore porn. It was just like, I've got in my hand the most valuable tape that any of my mates could want. The one thing that there's always something whenever we review these covers, and this is so typically I pick on how the number on the spine is out of alignment with the In Your House logo. Not this time, right? Then sometimes I might go for the fact that the match is just not like centered or aligned correctly. Not this time. They've done a good job there. The one thing that sticks out to me like a sore thumb here is why on earth have they decided to let the Body Donners and the Godwins share the cover with Shawn and Diesel? What's that about?
It's a fair point. The only other time I can think of a tag match that didn't deserve that billing is when I went to the WCW house show in the year 2000 in Manchester, and they headlined it with the Mamalukes versus the what was the DOA? Yeah, it was the DOA. It was Skull and 8 Ball. That was the main event that they had at the WCW house show in 2000. That's the only other time I can think of. Yeah, these lads do not belong anywhere near that cover. Could have thrown Razor on there. Could have thrown Vader on there. Could have even thrown Big Match Jim on there himself, although he doesn't actually have a match really on this show.
Freaking Warrior, what's he?
He's back,
Diesel.
Although, I bet you'd.
It looks like a mugshot, doesn't it? Like Diesel looks like dangerous there. Maybe the Warrior would have looked too much like a cartoon compared to like pre-big sexy Kevin Nash there looking like trouble. Maybe Warrior was mindful of it.
That picture of Nash definitely was on Vince's wall. Once he left, that he was probably throwing darts. To be fair though, if they'd have included Warrior on this, and I'm sure you would have picked up on it when you were watching the show back, they'd use some rando footage from like 1988 or something like that, and try to like. There's a point during the show, isn't there, where they're trying to like advertise the next In Your House, and it's like all this, Shawn as well, champion, and it's like the Body Donners, and it's all the current stars, and it's Vader, and it's Ahmed Johnson, and it's like, and the Ultimate Warrior will be there, and it's him like body slamming Honky Tonk Man in 1988 or something like that. It couldn't be like. I mean, that's even in the 90s where obviously time moves very differently. That's a very, very fucking long time ago where it does always stand out when they do that.
The cheeky bastards as well. This is a month after they've ran the Huckster and the Nacho Man at WrestleMania on the pre-show.
True.
And it's just like they've got like footage. My God, yeah, you're right. Because another one you're on about, he's in like some blue trunks and it's from about 88. Yeah. That would make that footage
it's all grainy.
8 years old, Benno. Yeah. 8-year-old footage. Like, that's unacceptable. They put for the WrestleMania 41 main event for the big CM Punk video where they showed him like sort of in his original WWE run, like with the pipe bomb and everything like that, just sort of what happened that took him away from wrestling and brought him back. That's like nearly the same length of time that like CM Punk was absent. They've thought, we can use a clip of Warrior. Nobody will notice. But they didn't count on us, did they? They never do.
80s technology and 90s technology, all the same, all looks the same. No, these marks are never going to look. Just they even try and do it. Like obviously, this pay-per-view kicks off with a show. There's a couple of cracking Shawn and Diesel videos through the show, but there's one later on where they're trying to talk about like the history of Shawn and Diesel, and it's like and then they turned on. They were tag team champions, and then they turned on each other, and the tag team champions footage is from like 3 months ago, and not from the time when they were heels. It's driving me mad. My OCD can't handle that. You can't mess with us. You can't pull the wool over our eyes. We're always going to spot him.
That's it, man. It's and what I like as well is that Like, because it comes, well, we've realized it comes up in the pre-show, but it's not a pre-show that we see until we see clips of it on the main show, if that makes sense. But yeah, they're talking about, it's funny, isn't it? Like, they're talking about Diesel and Shawn as like the kind of culmination of a 2-year odyssey between the two of them. Ultimately, Diesel rocks up in about 93 and middle of 93, and this is like earlier in 96, so nearly 3 years, I guess. That's approximately half a bloodline.
That's how Matty measures time.
Nothing now. That's it. Yeah, it's like this is like a spry 3 years compared to the sort of stuff we're in terms of long-term stories now.
Half a bloodline, or as he's affectionately known, Solo Sikoa. But yeah, I'll save that burial for a different podcast. But we are here to talk that show, and as you mentioned there, we always try and include the free for all, which is included on the tape as well. Like I remember this show mostly from the WWF magazine coverage at the time, because we weren't getting these shows as we often talk about. And yeah, I remember the magazine covering the one match that we got on the free for all here, like it was a big part of the main show. But yeah, strange free for all this and that. Yeah, the only version that me and you could source was the version that's floating around Daily Motion. Is about 15 minutes. Like I say, seems to be the total of it until you get to the end of the show and they start like including interview footage from Shawn and Diesel. It definitely isn't on the 15-minute version of the free for all that we get, but it kind of feels like it's designed that way because the rush for time. Doc Hendricks comes out and he's trying to flog the show, and then all of a sudden we're right into 1, 2, 3 Kids and Wild Man Mark Mero. The entrances are happening and Doc gets kind of bullied and pushed out of the way, and we go straight to the match. Then there's a promo, and then that's it, really, isn't it? It's a very, very rushed free for all by their standards.
It's rushed, but like this one for me felt like the most we've ever had to just pick up. Compared to like obviously when Todd does like a sales pitch, or like there was like we talked about how the change from the pre-show to the free for all was going to lead to a match every time. But I don't know if it's just like historical significance or whatever. But did you notice as the start of a pattern that would go on throughout the night, like the Kid coming out with his little beard and his boo-boo face, and all 5 of them throughout the night, giving it that
100%.
flashing the click signal down the camera, like they were all treating themselves, weren't they, for one last time?
Oh, it's funny, like as a kid, the only one that I ever really noticed was, or like as a young adult, I suppose, when I finally saw this, it's the Shawn was, isn't it, on his entrance, where he's like meme mugging the camera as he comes out. But you're right, Kid throws it up. The end of this match, Hunter throws it up as well, doesn't he? Which is, to be fair, is a rare sighting for 1996. Obviously, Razor's throwing it out, Diesel's throwing it out. I feel like Shawn's mini tantrum at the end of the night is maybe it's half directed at WCW, half directed at Vince. Yeah, there's some scowling faces through this night.
Triple H being just so intrinsically Triple H as well. He does it twice. The daft hack never knows for definite if he's got it on camera or not. And he's like, have I done it yet? Have I done it? Love me, Shawn. Love me. Like he's
literally patting what Kid on the shoulder, going, you do it too. You do it too. And I think Waltman throws it up, but you can't really see it because Hunter's in the way of the camera. It's what we always forgive them. It's like, when you get like the BSK lads coming out with BSK gear and stuff like that, you're like, you fucking lame nerds. This is the closest, and luckily they're on the way out. The Click come to that level, and that's like, come on, lads. Who are you trying to pop here? Meltzer and Keller. There's nobody else who's asked about this stuff. Although I don't know, they've got the cool to pull it off.
It's funny to think of Triple H thinking like, this is great. I'm going to reveal that I'm in the Click, and I'm going to get away with it, and there's going to be no consequences. And then like 2 weeks later.
That's our boy. But yeah, we'll be getting into that retconned history on Housekeeping as well. But obviously, the main bulk of this free for all does come around a very Hunter-centric story that's going on. We've got the 1, 2, 3 Kid in his heel role against new start Wildman Mark Mero, and the background to this, I believe, was it Mark Mero and Hunter was the initially advertised match for the show. I believe I read that somewhere, and there was definitely a graphic at least out there for that one. But obviously the background to that is this Sable and on Hunter Hearst Helmsley story. Sable, who weirdly Jerry Lawler on commentary is at pains to try and tell you is ugly every time she appears on screen. It's the most bizarro Jerry Lawler commentary performance of all time. He would drop that act quite quickly. But yeah, obviously there's a bit of background there, isn't there? Obviously with, like say, Hunter being the one to bring out Sable, and this new former Johnny B. Bad Mark Mero being the one to come to save the damsel in distress.
Yeah, it's sort of all over the shop, this, isn't it? Because Hunter and Mero are having the program on TV, I guess, and they're going to continue that into the next In Your House. But the kid, as like a member of the corporation, feels completely detached, because it does feel like the clique are being given their night to be mates on telly, almost. Like, this is like, if you think about like the free-for-all match that we covered with DiBiase when he was Tatanka's manager, they played off DiBiase being like ex-rivals with Jake Roberts. Here, DiBiase was a bit of a spare part, wasn't he? It was more like he couldn't do anything. It was about Triple H coming down in his suit, and he was the one that was going to help the kid. He was the one to be worried about. There was no real, there's no place for Ted DiBiase all of a sudden. And I guess that would be a running theme with DiBiase in the next show we're going to look at as well. Like, it's out with a whimper for the corporation in general, really.
Yeah, he always seems he's like a spare part when Hunter is trying to throw up the Turkish wolf, and he's just kind of just looking at them both like, you fucking nerds, what are you doing? It's kind of weird to see. Until obviously 1998, it's one of those rare sightings, isn't it? Hunter and Kid on camera there together. But absolutely, it feels like they've gone into business for themselves, and I suppose maybe you're supposed to read into that obviously there's that weird alliance there. And it's like, I think they do a good job of like, it's a bit of a not a match that ends in a bullshit finish, but actually the early like going of this match is good stuff. Like, Bob on Mark Meadows, someone we talked about. Yes, blew my mind when I was a kid when he first saw him on TV doing the shooting star press. He does it at King of the Ring 96 is when he first bust that out. I was literally in my bedroom with my wrestling figures, making them all do that. Like, it was the first. I hadn't seen Liger at that point, so it was my first sighting of such things. And yeah, you can kind of see him pull off a lot of the kind of wacky and high flying offense in here. He's a very different proposition, I'd say, than he was as Johnny B. Bad in WCW, and I feel like it was about 6 months into his run before I even figured out that they were the same person. That's how different his presentation is here, but it feels very much like one where obviously they want to elongate, as you mentioned, the Mark Mero and Hunter story, but it feels like one of those, generic Vinceisms. Oh, we got a new lad coming in, have we? We'll put Waltman in there. We'll find out what he's got. That's the measuring stick, and that's kind of what the match seems set up to be.
Yeah, it's weird. I wonder if this is one of them situations where it's just me and you with the same brain, or there is like this universal thing of that summer, in the absence of Bret Hart, in particular, that there was a spot that kind of opened up for you to like somebody else. Like, I liked Shawn Michaels, so I was cool with Shawn Michaels, but there was definitely a place for a new babyface to kind of take my attention a little bit. And I'm totally with you. Like, I should have spotted quicker that this was Johnny B. Bad, and I didn't. And if I highly doubt I've seen a shooting star press before I first saw Mero's. And he did it as well, because he debuts that against Goldust, doesn't he? But he also did as Wildman. That was the first time he did the Mare Assault. Remember that, where he does the standing on the top rope? Yeah. And I just, like, I'm thinking, for me at the time, I'm thinking, well, that's the real deal. I've got my next guy, I guess. And then like Bret returns and he gets injured along the way. But it's always like, it's funny you mention about the kid and the litmus test and all this kind of thing. Because years and years removed from it, everybody buried Mark Mero, didn't they? Like, there was that jealousy over his guaranteed contract, I think. And I think that like scarred him in the locker room. He came in and he got a good deal. And I think, I remember like Austin wasn't particularly kind about him, Triple H. A lot of people say, oh yeah, that Mero, he was Foley, like we talk about his working style. And maybe it's just me. I've never taken a bump. I can't see what he's doing differently to anybody else. And it must be down to the money. It must be.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that, and it's like he's known for being a WCW guy. Same thing literally happens, similar story, Jericho, when he comes into the WWF, they put him with Waltman and go, oh, he doesn't know how to bump and feed, he doesn't know how to work our style, and it's like, I mean, come on, lad, you just need to know where the hard cam is, like, that's pretty much Fed style, like, slow it down a little bit, you're fine, you'll figure it out. Yeah, it feels like one of those where he's an outsider and he gets done down. I think also the fact that he was very vocal, during the Benoit stuff, wasn't he? He was on, like, Fox News and stuff like that a lot, and, like,
that's
CNN, and he was like the talking head, and I think that helped. He was talking about the business out loud to people and being honest about the actual issues that were there as well. But yeah, he's someone who feels like he's got a really memorable but very short run you know, in the WWF, because like I was trying to think about it. It's like, okay, you got this in '96. It's only 2 years later that he's doing the boxing gimmick with Marvelous Mark Mero, with Sable there, and having like the intergender matches with her and stuff. And that's, you know, whether it would hold up to the taste test to current day. It was very entertaining at the time, and he was very good in that role, and he felt memorable in that role. But he's one of those people who just drops off the face of the earth, doesn't he? Once that runs over with, and you don't really see it again, and gets talked down in history in ways that I'm not sure are totally warranted.
Well, you know how Vince McMahon had the airport test. I think me and you have discussed before how at our age, like Wildman Mark Mero would fail the playground test. Just nobody was talking about WWF in the playground at this point. Nobody. No. So Wildman at his peak in the summer of 1996, like that's a missing scene for most of your wrestling mates who drop back in by the time it's like Austin and Rock in 98 and 99 or S.A. Rios in 2000. Mark Mero is they might actually stand more chance of remembering Johnny B. Bad from WCW on ITV than Wildman Mark Mero in WWF. Like, and Sable, it's a good job because Mero here was booked to have the shit kicked out of him, and Sable is not good. Like the camera cuts away and keeps cutting back to her to give her like a chance to look stressed or look anxious or whatever it is, and she is a long way off being the complete valet. Like all the stories about I'll bring my wife along to the meeting, and then it's kind of Sable ends up getting Mero hired rather
Vince's
than the other way around.
Wonders.
They are, they're gambling on a look because, like, it's. I don't mean this to sound disrespectful, but there appears no discernible knack for performance at this point by Sable at all.
No, you're totally right. And but then she's believable as well as one of the faceless women who happen to be in Triple H's corner. Because like the other weird thing about this is like, and I totally get what you mean with Mark Mero. The other problem with him is his gimmicks. Just lame in. He's a wild man. What is he? He's from the jungle. He's supposed to be Tarzan. Come on, lads. We need to move into the 90s, as Kevin Nash would say later in the night to a certain person in the crowd. But like the other part of it is like the story makes no sense because they make out that like she's been saved by this Mark Mero, and then like 3 weeks later on tell her, so the married couple, Mark Mero and his wife Sable. What? How did they doing like Raw magazine shoots and stuff like that, talking about how that story how they came into the company. But we'll have to just forget that and pretend there was a real story there. But as far as the match goes, there isn't really much to say. Like I said, good flashy offense from him. Kids always good, in this role. He's always, like we always talk about, if you top echelon as Brett and Shawn, I think not far beneath is your Owens and your Kids and maybe even your Razors on his day when he can be asked. There's a brilliant spot where Hunter tries to get involved in the match. He's on the outside and going after Sable, and Mero comes out to get him, and Kid catches him with a ridiculous sliding baseball dive to the outside. That weird, it's like a baseball slide, but it's also a dive. He literally cuts his entire head off. That's brilliant. Loads of thoughts put into it, and then the finish is just Hunter gets involved again, and he comes back from the back, gets involved again, and it's a DQ. Like, I wish they put some of that thought into the finishing spot of it, because like as far as a match goes, to sell you on the pay-per-view that's about to happen and make you put your hand in your pocket, a bullshit finish is not going to do that.
That's Kid as well. That's us. That's us and the Kid. Like, it's something inauspicious departure from our little timeline for the time being, isn't it? From the stuff we've seen from him, it's kind of a sad way for him to bow out for now.
It's quite funny because my memory of it was that like he leaves at a different time than Nash Hall. Like, there's different, like, it happens in stages, but yeah, it happens all in one night, doesn't it? It's he's the first one to go,
because he's not there for the curtain call, is he? Because he's got his injury at the time. His neck's causing him bother
that's
again.
What it is. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah,
that's like so. But he's gone. He's gone before you get the chance to make your WWF comeback. He's away at WCW.
Yeah, there you go. And obviously would show up over there, but we'll have more on that on the housekeeping as well. But yeah, after that, the only other notable thing on this free for all is the Ultimate Warrior promo as Jim is back. I think he's not asked about the IC belt. I'm pretty sure that's what he said. And then Goldust blows some dust in his face. Warrior no-sells it and chases him off. And that's going to sell us on buying this pay-per-view. What the fuck was this? Even the commentary's like, what just happened? Huh? What's going on? It's so bizarre.
those words, Vince McMahon on commentary literally wails, "What's going on?" The Warrior. Oddly, right, like you kind of, after we've reviewed the match, for anyone that's like, if you're listening to this podcast and you haven't actually watched In Your House 7, by all means, like pause this and go and watch it. But in a way, this promo is telling you what's about to happen, because obviously they know what we don't at this point, which is that they have absolutely no intention to deliver the match. And Warrior, I wrote down what he said. He said, because he puts over the Intercontinental title first, but then he says he doesn't want to disappoint the Warriors, but he didn't come here to take that belt home in a bag. He has a mission to fulfill. He's going to beat up Goldust and take back the spirit of the Warriors. So I don't know what that is. I don't know why Goldust has the spirit of the Warriors. And I love that he just says, I've not come to put a belt in a bag. What he's doing is revealing that wrestlers don't like lugging belts around airports. Like, he's just revealed that like winning belts is a fuck on. That's the last thing I need. I don't want any of that. And then as you say, they lose. It's like we've documented this before. Like, again, some of the production qualities on these In Your Houses is like remarkably poor for WWF at the time. And the sound goes off and you can't really tell what's happening. They almost miss that the Warrior gets the gold dust or the cigar smoke, whatever it is, like blown in his face. And then it's supposed to be, I think, implied that Goldust has taken a spill as the Warrior chases him, but they don't really catch all of it. It's just Doc Hendricks left looking confused.
Yeah, that's it. Fade to black and it's over. It's just like, oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, it would set you up for the bullshit that is to come later, which is basically what Jim is telling you in a code away. You're not getting a match tonight, lads. Don't expect one. It's not going to be good. But even when it does happen, but yeah, absolutely bizarre free for all. Like I say, yeah, kid on the way out as well, not doing the job. Luckily, the other Click members would in fact do the honors as the night went on. But that's the end of your free for all, which takes us into the main show. Couple of logo related notes here for Michael. We start with, is this the first time we've seen like the weird thunder and lightning pink background Fed logo to start the show? I thought it was. It's been a little while since we've recorded, but yeah, I thought it'd be right up your street.
I love it, man. It's like glistening red and gold, like the clouds are these sort of like the red and black clouds with lightning. I don't know why, but like it is like I very much associate this with like just WWF trying to get tougher, like trying a load of different stuff to like finally disassociate themselves from like what people would consider like the cartoonish era. It's better served in 1997 just before they change it, but like this one now, we've got this. I think they changed the color of it once to like just all black and silver and gray, but this now we've got pretty much until like the middle of 1997, and it's very reflective of the world that they're trying to create, even if they don't always do the best job of creating it. Like this, I attach too much meaning to all this bollocks, but like this logo and all these thunder and lightning and storms and all that kind of thing, this is far more attached to sort of like, I don't know, Mankind coming and being a different proposition for The Undertaker, or the rise of Stone Cold Steve Austin, or whatever. It's like a few dark clouds. Like the World Wrestling Federation is going to try and get a little bit nastier because it's at war now. Yeah,
I totally like associate it for me with like 1997. Like it's more that era. I don't think of this as a 1986 logo. It feels not attitude, but like you say, darker, more gritty, more adult, more serious business than the ones that have come before. So looking forward to that ringing us in through the year and to ringing in these podcasts. It goes into a nice little Shawn and Diesel video with the dramatic voiceover man, the dun, dun, da, 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 music that gets me still excited and puts goosebumps on the back of my neck today. I don't know if you got notes on that, but it goes right into something I imagine you definitely have notes on, which is the In Your House plane dropping bombs on Omaha. Here we are. Here it is.
Right. So yeah, logo watch. We noted with interest and concern in the last In Your House review about the In Your House logo getting ran over by a car that now lived in the house where the logo used to live. So it is my assumption that upon the logo recovering from injuries, it's thought, man, I've been kicked out my own house and ran over by my own car. it's time to join the army. That can be the only possible explanation. And it becomes, well, it effectively allows itself to be used as a weapon of war against the very state that WWE is running the show in. Have I got that right? Like,
yep, that's exactly what it is.
In Your Houses hit the map as if to like it's a WWF plane. They're like, well, Omaha, you look nice, but we're about to blitz you with In Your House. More than you could possibly need, we're going to give you In Your House.
They'll love this. Not the sign of a babyface promotion, I would say. It's probably Vince's real feelings, isn't it? Where? Omaha? How many people live there? 500,000? Fuck that. I was on the Wikipedia today. I do, in fact, know it's 500,000. Probably less in 1996. But Jesus, that's probably what it is. It's Vince's. It's like there when, that weird period of Raws where they just stopped saying the town they were in if it wasn't big enough. Or like, obviously, the period everyone remembers where he stopped giving the Canadian wrestlers their Canadian hometowns. He's just weird about fucking places and stuff, isn't he? That's just that's the same. There's probably something to it, and of course, he is on the call here with Jerry Lawler, which is, for everything we will say about Vince McMahon on our respective podcasts, and all rightfully so, is a decent team. And obviously, there's plenty you could say about Lawler as well. I think Lawler often brings the better out of Vince on these shows. But yeah, that takes us straight into the shenanigans that kick off our first match again. Another misadvertised one, I believe. Michael is the background on this one. I think it was supposed to be British Bulldog Jake the Snake singles match. Owen Hart is conspicuously out there with Bulldog, as is Corny, as is Clarence Mason, and as is one of our favourites in a little minute as well. Not before some very, very prime pro wrestling bullshit here from everyone's favourite pro wrestler needs to be a very serious injury, Talking Heads Jim Cornette.
Yeah. You see, so like Bulldog comes out like, and this is a terrifying sign of things to come. He's back in his main event trunks. He's in his Allied Powers trunks, but now obviously with the short hair as a heel, as if he hasn't tanked enough pay-per-views. Start getting ready for that. But the show clip from I think it was Germany where
it's Germany. I had it written down. Brunn, Germany. Apparently, I've never been.
Brunn, Germany. So I don't know how this would compare to your WXW adventures, but Jake beats Owen, and then wouldn't you just know it, Benno? I couldn't believe it. Davey Boy Smith is afraid of snakes. Like, in terms of of all the wrestlers to be suddenly paired with, what rotten luck of all the guys in the locker room. I couldn't believe it.
He wouldn't last out in Thailand, did he? It's I always hated that. Like, it's funny. I was trying to think. Like, I did like Jake the Snake as a kid. I definitely I distinctly remember Mania. Is it Mania 7 when he works Undertaker being the one in my group of mates cheering for Jake the Snake, despite the fact he was a heel at that point, because I just always liked Jake the Snake. I like him even during this period in 1996. I kind of fell for the Terry Funk, the old dog with one last fight in him type of gimmick they went with him here, who again, not to date this too much, but I think now that we are all in our 40s, sorry, Michael, I think we are in fact older, both of us, than Jake the Snake is in 1996 here in this outfit and this rig out and this gimmick that he's doing. But all of the things I liked about him, it was never the snake. It was never I've got a snake and it scares the heels. I always thought that was lame. Or rolling around, typhoon and earthquake doing runners because there's a snake and it moves and it's an animal. I always hated it. I always thought it was lame even as a little kid.
The Cobra as a heel, yes. The Python as a baby face, absolutely not.
Yes.
That's the rule.
There you go. That's good line in the sand.
That's the rule.
Yeah. Definitely.
As you say, now we are all in our 40s, just like Jake. And just like Jake, like if I'm looking at your hat and I'm looking at kind of the background, like Jake, we're back in our matching t-shirts. He's got his snake shirt back rather than the Primark one he had in Your House 6. So you can he's back on that. He's back on that full-timer money, isn't he? Because he's got his snake t-shirt back. And Vince straight away is grassing up the baddies. He's Jake, you realise, mate, that you're older than shit and there's about 4 guys out in the ring. Are you going to do anything about this? And and he does.
I enjoy the fact that he's the one, obviously, the whole Cornette and Clarence Mason thing is they've got something written down on some bit of paper that means that Jake can't have the snake out there. So he takes the snake backstage. It got me thinking though, imagine being at a show in 1996 when he takes that snake backstage. Where does it go? Did they just lock it in a locker room or something like that, or like do the BSK feed at Soma's backstage or something like that? What were the Snakes doing backstage? Like they just go in a big box. Like it was like a trade for Ahmed. I don't know what happened there. I don't know who was in charge.
It depends on it depends on how stiff the Snake's handshake was. If it respects the business, it can play bones with the Undertaker. But if not, it has to stay in the bag and change outside like the Miz. That's that was the rule. It depends on the word.
There was 100% some no mark, some jobber who was in town just for the night. Who was gonna one get Yokozuna sit on his head, and the second thing he was gonna have that night was to look after Jake the Snake's Snake backstage. But the exchange happens. Jake comes out not alone. He comes out with Big Med himself, Ahmed Johnson, hero of the podcast, Matty's best friend, and my God, Michael, the first thing I had to write down here was, what an almighty pop. And I love it. I love that Ahmed comes out. It's no music at first. The crowd got a bit of a glimpse at him. And you can see like it's a pretty good crowd here. Like the people in the cheap seats start to realize at him. You can kind of see them raise up and cheer. Then the music hits. And then he comes out again. More evidence of that 1996 should be the year of Ahmed. What a monster pop this was.
And like what a necessary pop it was as well, because like up to this point you've had clearly a match getting changed as it like transpires. Reading around it, the Bulldog was picking up an injury, and you can see how that plays out in the match. So they're kind of like they have him work hurt. You've got Cornette fainting and then like saying Clarence,
oh God, I forgot Cornette fainting.
It's all, truthfully, right, it's all a bit of a shit show. Right down to Ahmed being so Ahmed. I don't think it was to get the pop. I think he just missed his cue. And he's like, I'm going out now. And then there was nobody backstage to press the music on, but that's Ahmed Johnson, right? That's the value of it. He just ups the quality of everything tenfold the second he gets. It goes from being pantomime to serious stuff when Ahmed Johnson walks out.
Yeah, that's it. And just don't forget, kids, Jim Cornette doesn't like that comedy wrestling. He doesn't like anything like that. While he's still laid out fainted in the ring as people are trying to wake him up with smell and salts and all kinds. Didn't like wacky 80s comedy, but yeah, that's going on in the ring. Ahmed and Jake come out, and like you say, yeah, we do have instead of our advertised singles match, we have a tag match instead. And like you say, yeah, they work around the Bulldog injury very much in this one, and they kind of work around the strengths, I think, of the individual wrestlers in it. It's mostly the start of it. It's a Jake the Snake Roberts match, so you get every single brand of arm wringer that you can possibly do on both arms, on both heels. That's pretty much how Jake kind of works. There's a bit of a false cutoff with Owen raking his eyes. Davey misses an elbow. The heels end up powdering from Ahmed, which is like a repeated thing in this match. And obviously Vince is eyeing up a Davey and Ahmed potential program there, just because it's just like, two muscly lads, we can do that. The Wardlow match wasn't that bad. Davey likes a good match like this. Let's go that direction. And to be fair, Davey's good at playing it up as like they get a little minimal bit of heat on Ahmed, and the one point where he manages to hit a body slam on Ahmed. He's flexing, getting all of his money's worth out of that as well. It doesn't last very long before Ahmed is pretty much trying to take both of their heads off. There's a point where I think Owen calls like a clothesline with Ahmed. He sends him into the ropes, and Ahmed's supposed to come back. I don't actually saying that. I'm not sure he does call clothesline, because Owen like starts to jump as if he's about to do a drop kick, and Ahmed just clotheslines him out of his boots anyway. And there's genuinely a point where like you see Owen kind of get the match together, get Ahmed back in the corner, and then just kind of like just get out the ring and go, your fucking job, Davey. You get in there and you take over. And it's just like, he's just like, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm not dealing with this fucking cunt anymore. You can feel it from the heels in the match. They're doing the best. But poor injured Davey's being forced to get in the ring by Owen. It's beautiful. Pure Ahmed hooking up to my veins.
He's an absolute force of nature here. I've got that exact spot in my notes, because it's like, yeah, it's this massive clothesline that like Owen has to move like half across the ring to even take. Like he's not in a position to take this clothesline. And it looks like, on one of the games where like it's a big clothesline spot, but it's a pre-made animation. So you could trigger it from the other side of the ring, and it'll just pull the wrestlers together like magnets to like do the animation in the middle. That's what Owen has to do. He has to make himself a magnet to Ahmed, otherwise he's going to break his neck. There's another one where Ahmed like seems to be lifting Owen up into an atomic drop, and then just launches him instead. Just straight up throws a human body like as far as he possibly can. there is no way that like Owen could be prepared to sell for that from the position he starts in. It's like, well, you're going. It's he's a remarkable specimen. He really is. There's like, if you remember as well, this was God, yeah, this was where Bulldog, they'd done that arm wrestling match where Bulldog had like launched that table at Ahmed's back, and it used to be in the Raw credits for months afterwards because it was just like clearly like either Bulldog said, "You're having this one, mate. There's enough people that want a receipt," or he's like, or Ahmed said, "I lay it in, whatever you think," and he's just absolutely like leathered him with this like solid table that doesn't break. It's just, he's in the mood. Ahmed's he's special, isn't he? He's a special talent.
That's our guy. Matty did say when he saw him over Media Week, lovely bloke, was Antonio Norris in cracking shape as well, which is good to see. But I honestly, both of them, Matty and Ahmed Johnson. But I had it on like kind of I made a mental note during this match to kind of go, I like the layout of this. I like the fact that they have like these little like teased heat sections, and Ahmed fights back, and then it's Jake who eventually takes the heat. Thinking about it now, actually, at the call later today, it probably wasn't supposed to be the match was going to go. It's just Ahmed just wouldn't lay down and sell because there's multiple points in this where you can feel the heels are trying to cut him off, and he just keeps fighting back. Like there's a point where it feels like Owen and Davey are supposed to take the match, and he's just 2 seconds later, he's gorilla pressing Owen, and then eventually tags out. But I think things do land where they're supposed to. Jake ends up taking the majority of the heat in the match, and I did feel like it was getting somewhere. I was very much enjoying it. I thought it was a good use of Jakey, whether it was on purpose or not. I think his selling is still top notch, even here in 1996. And yeah, it's kind of like there's a couple of generic hope spots in there for Jake, and like obviously the Ahmed hot tag, as you mentioned there, is absolutely brilliant stuff as he comes in, throwing spine busters and all kinds. But again, it doesn't last long. It just feels like the heels have gone, fuck it, call an audible. Let's just go straight to the finish. And Davey gets a tennis racket, gets Jake in the knee, doesn't even get him over for the half Boston Crab, just kind of crowbars his knee, and then it's a submission. It's over, and it feels like I feel like there was another 5 minutes of match on here, but maybe it's Ahmed being the whirlwind that he is. You take the good with the bad with him, but yeah, I did feel like they were getting somewhere until the anticlimactic finish for me.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like the fans, there's definitely dark art stuff from Jake because they come up so loud when he's in a chin lock. And that's all it is. Bulldog is obviously limited on this night. So, like, it's just a chin lock. He's got Jake in. And they are desperate for him to make the tag. And part of that must be because the limited glimpses they've seen of Ahmed are so fantastic. They want a bit more of him. And then, yeah, as you say, they cut you off as a fan because, like, Ahmed does two things and then tags back out. And you can almost see on Jake's face, like, I've just tagged out, mate. I'm knackered here. But then he gets back in and he's got he's got to work the DDT as if he's had like a 5-minute rest on the apron or something, and he's been out for 2 moves. It's so weird.
Like 10 seconds, yeah.
Yeah. It's like, this was one of them ones for me where I think like this was really great when either Ahmed was in there or there was the threat of Ahmed being in there, and then like the rest of it just like you couldn't get away from this not being what was planned. Like this goes very differently, doesn't it? If there's not the injuries and there's not the last minute plans. Like absolutely, Ahmed Johnson. Ahmed Johnson.
He's beautiful. He even botches when, like, him in, like you say, when Jake has to get in the ring and be. It's a wrestling thing, isn't it? You sell for 20 minutes in a match. Hot tag happens, and all of a sudden you're both in there doing double teams, and you're both as your energy meters all of a sudden supposed to be 100 again, and you can tell very much in Jake it is not 100 again. He's blowing out his arse trying to get up there, but he tries to like do like a high five with Ahmed, and Ahmed like barely acknowledges him and barely gives him it. They're an odd couple. Ahmed and Jake, I don't think they're a team I would have put together, but there we go. That's what we get. But they do the best with the parts they've got, and I do think Davey and especially Owen do a good job of stitching it together and keeping it as strong as they can. But yeah, week finish aside, we move on to we have backstage. We have 1, 2, 3 kids, and we have Mark Murrow and Sable on the superstar line on either side of the split screen there. I'm sure plenty of young 12-year-old me was attempting to ring into that many a pay-per-view. But yeah, there isn't much else backstage, but because we're back for the first of a couple of shit shows through the night, and the continuation of the angle that we had on the free-for-all, the match that is rated 0.35 on Cage Match I've just seen, the Ultimate Warrior versus Goldust. And it's not just Ultimate Warrior versus Goldust, it's Ultimate Warrior allegedly versus Goldust with Marlena and a mystery man in his corner, who I only found out 10 minutes before we went on air who that mystery man was. I was looking at it going, bro, this Clay time travelled. Like when the lights were off, I was like, is that Curtis Hughes? I'm not sure what it is. Mantar or Masks as Goldust's heavy. Like this is something that fell out the back of my brain that it ever even happened.
Yeah, he was. I think you can find him on certain like ECW shows, can't you? As like Bruiser Mastino or something around this time.
That's it, yeah.
And obviously here they've just dressed him up like an usher because they needed a big lad to take some bumps, didn't they? Because they knew what they were going to promote here. We didn't, but they did.
Honestly, like this is like the WWF magazine match, because I remember all the photos. I remember seeing Warrior in the wig and Warrior and the hat and all of that stuff, and even the magazine struggling to cover for what a shit show this is. Like, it is just like, why did they even bother? Like, down to the fact that like Goldust is coming out there with his knee taped up over his gear. It's like, well, like in kayfabe, I don't think that you need that to do what they do here. If anything, you should probably be hiding that and covering it with this, because this is not a match. I mean, it starts well enough, you know. Jim comes out, gets his full music entrance in it and pyro, and like same with me sat at home even all these years later. You hear the first notes of that entrance theme, and it does get you going, and it does get this crowd going, and they do all of a sudden think that it might quite be 1990 again. But like what we get here is just, like you say, because of Goldust's knee and because of Jim being Jim, it's just bullshit. He smokes a cigar, he wears a hat, he wears a wig, he steals a chair. I mean, is this a cinematic match before there were cinematic matches? Lawler's doing his best to get that over on commentary with all of the movie references. Goldust even cuts a weird trying to get the people to shut up promo, which feels like he's just buying time because he knows this is dying a death. Threatens kisses for everybody in the crowd. Tries to get Warrior to kiss his hand. Gets clotheslined off the chair by Warrior. Runs away, and then that's it. That's over. Like no match starts, no match ends, and then, like you say, the former montage in there just to take a few rotten looking bumps from Warrior, and then Warrior celebrates like, what is this thing? And oh my god, what a start to Warrior's glorious comeback in 1986.
It is an absolutely mental segment of a wrestling pay-per-view, this, like, from beginning to end. Like, it is nuts seeing Warrior, well, with Pyro I still think is quite unique, but seeing Warrior with Pyro and him doing that entrance out of the house is the first point where you're like, what the fuck am I watching here? Like, these, we said it, like, as excited as we were for his return in 96, and he gets one of the loudest reactions at WrestleMania 12. Totally. Like, this is not a hot take. This man does not belong in this time. Right, so he comes out. I will say, the green gear is gorgeous. Like, Warrior looks the part.
The jacket,
like,
or cape, or whatever it is. Yeah.
He looks great. And you get a lot of the music on his entrance, and that should have been the tell that they've got nothing here. Like, you get into the third minute or so of Jim Johnson's Warrior music, and I don't normally hear that bit. I wonder why I'm getting that. And then you realize it's because everything is going to get dragged out here. Like, Warrior, like, almost from the jump, as soon as he's like, Marlena's dropped it, he's picked up that cigar, and Vince McMahon does not like that. And it's so funny watching him say, like, the Ultimate Warrior does not smoke, as Warrior takes massive drags from this enormous cigar. Like,
he's not inhaling, honest. It's like a politician.
So already you can, like, the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing. Like, totally. Warrior's got the Goldust gear on, and Vince, for the second time while the Ultimate Warrior's been on screen tonight, he's like, what is going on? And I think, well, you booked it, mate, so you're the one that should know. And then, like, watch this back. So, you know, the point at which Goldust does his usual taunt where he's like, I'm going to go in the crowd and kiss every one of you. Like, Warrior starts and continues like a loud F-word chant. Like, Warrior is caught in it. And I know, different time, 1996 and all that, but the camera catches Warrior conducting that chant, you know, and we know Warrior Jim's takes on that, you know, so like, we know full well he was banging to that. It's all out there. And then like, yeah, the burning of the cigar on the hand. Like there's one point where Warrior like looks down the lens at the hard camera, like that time Roman Reigns did the eyebrows for suffering Succotash. Like sort of like he looks at Goldust and Marlena and then looks at us, the fans, going, "What's going on here?" I'm thinking, Jim, I don't fucking know, mate. I don't know. Like it is surreal, beginning to end. One of the most surreal bits of like WWE pay-per-view I think you'll ever see.
Like the most, you could just feel the buyer's remorse, like coming through in the commentary, coming through in the screen, like multiple times through. Like Doc Hendricks initially utters the line, then Vince repeats it on commentary. The most reckless individual in the history of the World Wrestling Federation. That's what that's a nickname they try and give Jim. It's I don't know, that's good. I'm not sure that's a compliment. It's just immediately, you know, it's all gone off the rails. You know, he's trying to fucking shill his Warrior comics and come up with his fucking weird shit. Like, doesn't want to have matches. Obviously, the squash of Hunter is probably as strong as it gets for Jim during this run. It's just utterly bizarre, horrible stuff. And even, say, somebody you'd think would be into this in Vince is hating it on commentary very clearly. He knows they've laid an egg here.
Yeah.
Bad
like,
stuff.
You know, it's all very easy to analyze this and say, oh, it is terrible. But I remember this, and I remember, you know, I wouldn't say that I was over the Warrior, but I was like, oh, it's nice that Warrior's back. I'm a Brett guy, I'm a Shawn guy. The Warrior's more icing on the cake than the cake itself. But I have a vivid recollection of being quite pleased that the Warrior was getting a shot at the Intercontinental title, because to me that felt right. I remember distinctly being like, well, Shawn's a top guy now. The world title is the Shawn and Brett belt, and that's theirs. Yeah, Warrior can be IC champion. I'm happy with that. And then
you can bring the baby blue one back.
Like, I just remember getting served this and thinking, I don't know what I want anymore. And it's not the Ultimate Warrior.
It's that realization, isn't it? Even at that young age, oh, this is a relic. This is stuff that I used to like. This isn't stuff I like now. Like, you're right. Like, what I like now is Shawn, it's Brett, it's Ahmed, it's the people, like you say, they've literally been in you over there with it, the Huckster and the Nacho Man stuff. This is the past, and now we're being sold that no, it's fine because it's Warrior. Totally, I remember feeling that in there in real time as well. He's not long for this world, but God, I'm not sure if it gets worse before it gets better, or if it gets slightly better before it gets worse again. But obviously we'll be covering that as we go. But complete shit show, and they'd all have better nights at the office there. And I will say, big fan of Marlena. I'm glad they do drop the Mantar thing. It made no sense. Goldust Marlena was a perfect double act. Why would you need a third member to that? Why would you need some muscle to go along with it? Like, Marlena was perfect for that role. The whole kind of like, you know, cool woman in the gold dress smoking the cigar, that was cool for 1996 on TV. I feel like that's one of those things, isn't it? Like, as much as Vince was hating it with Warrior, like as we are with it, with stuff like this, I feel like, you know, smoking a cigar is just one of those cool guy things, isn't it? There's not much cooler you can really do when it's a woman on top of it, and you know that probably came from like Vince being at like a busy business meeting somewhere, or on like some other like female executive was smoking a cigar, and he was like, gimmick, we're giving that to Terry Runnels. But it's good stuff. I always liked it in the role. I thought she was good.
No, she was
not here.
She was tremendous. She kind of makes you pine for like more wrestler valet relationships that exist just to be a wrestler valet thing. Like, I hated that like obsession that happened in predominantly in WWE, I think, but where you've got somebody that is the wrestler and somebody that is the manager, and then the idea that like everybody has to get in the ring. I kind of miss the days where you can serve a purpose just doing that one job and doing it well. Like Lana and Rusev was the big one. Like from them at their peak, I never needed Lana to be anything more than this fantastic, like vibrant mouthpiece for Rusev, and that was how best they worked.
It's like a tag team, isn't it? You're paying for the overall act rather than, you know, the individuals. You're paying a bit more because you're paying two people's wages rather than one, but they're giving you something different on the roster, and that's exactly what a good manager would be. But definitely share your love for her. But we go to speaking of segments, I'm not going to think we're going to share the love for as we get to it. We have a weirdly angry Davey Boy Smith backstage. Something we didn't mention during the opening match was that Diana Hart was looking a bit moody in the crowd during that opener. We will find out on the TV to come why. But Doc Hendricks is on the scene, and Davey's getting mad, wanting Shawn to come out of his locker room, and he's shouting something about Diana as the soap opera story of the year is starting its beginning stages.
Yeah, that's a nice tease of what's to come, I guess. And then it cuts back. Did you have on yours how it cuts back to Vince and Lawler, and they're talking about like how cheap that Intercontinental title was, and they're blaming Goldust's character. They're doing that wrestling thing of being like, oh, that bloody Goldust.
It's like the match on the free for all where Vince is like, "Oh, what a cheap finish! What bullshit! I can't believe those baddies did that to you, good fans." It's like, you fucking did it, you cunt, did you? But yeah, always got to pull that one. But yeah, a little bit of an Easter egg there for the story that's to come in the summer. But from there, we go to our next match, and like you say, yeah, another member of the Kliq on his final televised appearance here, and this is again another one that stands out from reading the magazines as Razor is out there. Razor Ramon is out there with Vader, fresh off his suspension that we talked about on Housekeeping. Obviously, I mean, even as a kid, I kind of could feel it. I don't think I knew Razor was leaving, but I knew he all of a sudden was as important as he was before. Because when I read that magazine, I was like, hang on, he lost to Vader. What? Why would Razor Ramon be losing a match like that? And not knowing really what the word clean meant, but the fact that he loses clean here as well is a bit of an indication. Although, to be fair, based on recent vintage, when we watched these different In Your Houses, and very clearly the Kliq have had Ted Turner's money on the mind and have been thinking of other things. Actually, Razor puts in a bit of a shift here. I think he actually, sometimes he walks the walk, sometimes he just talks the talk. But there are moments in his career where I think Scott Hall does at least attempt to do the right thing and attempts to put people over in spots. Obviously, there's stories about it. I think it's him and Jericho in WCW and a couple of the cruiserweight guys that he tries to give a little bit more to than he's supposed to. And then there's 50 stories about him burying people. But I actually think he gives Leon a decent match here. I think they tell a good story with it. He obviously, they sell the fact that he's had his midsection worked over, so he can't. He tries, and he makes it clear that he could if he wanted to, but he can't quite get Leon up for the Razor's Edge. I think that's a good spot. Does manage to get him up for an electric chair though, which probably takes as much strength. But hey ho, he's a valiant babyface. But I almost feel as well like the finish to this one's a little bit anticlimactic because he doesn't lose to a power bomb, he doesn't lose to a Vader bomb, he doesn't lose to a moonsault. He just loses to basically Vader sits on him in the midst of a sunset splash. But I always feel like the sunset flip, and it almost feels like sometimes in a moment like this when you lose to that secondary move, it's almost more devastating, isn't it? Because it's almost more like, fuck, that's all it took to beat Razor in this. That's how dangerous Vader is. That's how much of a big deal he's supposed to be going to be in this summer. I actually think Razor does the honours here quite well, considering what the Kliq can be like. And a surprisingly enjoyable match for me. I don't know if you felt the same.
I felt the total opposite, if I'm honest. Like, feel like I feel like over the course of this podcast, what I'm going to do is like just push an agenda that I've got. I've listened to, look, I'm using this as a plug for your podcast. It's excellent. Listen to GRAPPL. It's written across Benno's cap right now. It's a tremendous podcast. And every now and then, as a guest on one, as a guest on one of our prior podcasts, you might have noticed that myself and one Matty Edwards of In Your House 3 fame share a lot of common sensibilities, and one of them is just sometimes like he won't mean to, but he'll just have this take that he has no idea how hot it is. And I remember once years were having a big debate about Samoa Joe, and I think I sit like right bang in the middle of how much you love him and how much Matty doesn't like him. I'm like, right, I think he's one of the best wrestlers to see in person for how real he feels and the aura that he kind of commands when you watch him on television. When you watch him in person. I think on TV he's been washed for 75% and good for 25%. Like, I think there's a lot of like conversations about Samoa Joe that like maybe don't happen because, but I'm loyal to wrestlers too. So like but
we're all thinking about 2005 and 2006. We're not thinking about the large swathe of his TNA run. Or that's fair enough. And I would never have put the world title on him. I think I agree with that.
I think I'm going to use this podcast as my platform to push an extremely negative agenda on what most people acknowledge as the worst period of his career. The Vader was shit. I am sorry. I think Vader is garbage in this match, right? And like, and Razor's like I've been pretty critical of Razor Ramon. Like, I mean, by the way, he hits Vader with that back suplex. It only gets 2. That back suplex beat Dean Douglas, right? So, like, Razor's knows how to like get his out of a match, shall we say. We've seen a lot of evidence of that in the run of matches we've seen. But it's Scott Hall. I'm with you. Like, Scott Hall on his day, like, I wouldn't say underrated, but like one of those wrestlers that could turn it on like few others and could give so much of his aura and his cool factor to somebody else. And considering that he's half out the door, I think he's trying his hardest to give all of it to Vader here, like all of it. I think he is prepared to let Razor Ramon die and have Vader be the one that can claim to have put him out of pasture. And that's, obviously the big purpose of it. And if I'm watching this and I'm Vince McMahon or I'm anybody that's kind of booking, I'm giving up on the push here. Like, there's points at this match where like Vader, I just think looks gassed, and like there's something like the electric chair or the suplex or whatever. Like, Vader takes a couple of great bumps, but then he's supposed to kick out and immediately get back in charge and just show that Razor Ramon is not on his level. Like, oh my God, that couldn't put Vader down. Now Vader's already back up to his feet and he's punching away. He's not got the engine for it. He looks absolutely shagged out there. And like the finish, I would normally agree with you. I quite like a kind of, he's beaten with that. God, he is. Like, Walter and Gunther has always been brilliant at that. Like, sometimes he will just beat you by having like a harder move in his arsenal than you, and he will put you down and he will put you out. But like, I'm seeing Vader drop to his arse to pin Razor and just be glad that it's over. Like, Razor put Vader over, but Vader doesn't get more over, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Right. Like, I found a lot of this to be quite like heatless. If you watch it back, like, Razor's comebacks don't necessarily get the pop they're supposed to be getting. This is where I'm fed-pilled, man, because when they talk about WWF style and that need to do like the kind of the light switch bump and feed motion, because that's what like us clapping seal fed fans like to see. Like, Vader's just not got it. And like, obviously after the match, like, Doc Hendricks confirms that it's like Vader and Yoko the next In Your House. And this is coming off Vader breaking Yoko's leg and Yoko having to be wheeled out on the forklift and all that sort of stuff. And if you consider that he's had that, and he's had the Gorilla Monsoon attack, and he's had the Rumble, like, they have done everything to like set this man like, you can argue after this, pretty much after SummerSlam, I'm not here to argue that the booking of Vader was particularly complimentary, but here, right now, this man should be like, it should be as if there's like a murderer walking out here. Like, the fans should be shitting themselves at the sight of Vader. And I think they're just watching a man with a mask that stinks trying to catch his breath. I don't see it. I'm so sorry. I'm like, I'll need to do you'll need to use Mustard on a Vader show. You'll need to send me a mixtape, and I can only watch him batter and Sting like 3 times. I need more because I think I'm going full Bam Bam Bigelow on Vader. I really am.
I think he might be your Regal. Yeah, I'm not ready to throw the towel up with him to that point. I will say also, Samoa Joe is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, who had several of the greatest matches of all time. Now, they all did happen in 2005 and 2006, but fuck you, I'm choosing to forget that. Or it will carry you a long way. But yeah, I'm not quite ready to do that with Vader. I am with Bam Bam Bigelow, threw the baby out with the bathwater with him when we did that mixtape over on GRAPPL. Maybe I'd find that if we sat down and did a proper Leon show as well. We've reviewed, like you say, Sting matches is probably the primary thing. Amazing. And a lot of it is aura, and a lot of it is him squashing jobbers and all of that great WCW TV where he is in that role. I don't massively disagree. I think there's the booking is strong, like you say, the Rumble and the suspension stuff with Gorilla Monsoon, like fantastic angles. Like you say, what a scalper, yeah. Like, even kid me. Couldn't believe Razor Ramon was losing this match. I think that's massive, and I think they do a lot of those things right. I think what we're maybe seeing is him struggling, as much as I joked before about like what is to learn with Fed style. I think he does struggle. I think he does struggle to kind of figure out, I can't just do what I want. I've got to fit into their playbook, and I've got to fit into the slightly different way they do matches. And yeah, he's got to be in a little bit more better cardiovascular escape to be there, for the tempo switches that happen in like these Fed matches, and like you say, to take advantage of moments like it in the match. But I still think I'd have made it work. I still think I would have had the patience to kind of go, okay, it's still early in the run. He's still Vader, there's still that, that body of work from WCW that makes it worthwhile sticking with and going with, because I'm still enjoying it and it's still the novelty of it. But yeah, maybe that's something that we're going to find as the year goes on, that like, as much as, we want to blame Shawn at SummerSlam and the book and post it, maybe there's something in the way Leon's performing. I wouldn't argue it with some of the interactions with Yoko that we've obviously talked about on recent shows. So maybe there is a bit of evidence mounting up on your side.
I think it's a shame after, the matches we'll cover after SummerSlam. It's almost unfortunate that he probably has seen an early sign of the writing on the wall, and maybe at that point, maybe his motivation level matches their like decreasing interest in him. But this is the one that sticks out for me, because everything should be at a peak here. Well, and the match in a couple of In Your House's time, like ahead of SummerSlam, there are like the sort of 2 or 3 key points where you want Vader to feel like he's got the world in front of him. And this was like, I couldn't remember this being like such a failed showcase. My memory of this was always, it's like Razor's odd, sad farewell. And instead I was watching going, he's doing his best by Big Leon here. And I can never always, I'm always looking at the wrestler's face to see if they're kind of dealing with how much the mask stinks as well. I'm always trying to see if they're trying to sell how much like
those dressing rooms that the Vader was in. I've heard story, or hotels over in the UK that he stayed in. I've heard story about them as well. Not a hygienic bloke was our Leon. But no, to be fit to your point though, I enjoyed the match. But what did they come out of it talking about? Razor? I don't think I even mentioned Vader when I talked about what I liked about the match, and maybe that's a giveaway as well. I guess it's something to monitor as we go forward. But yeah, to give him the best. Razor obviously goes out on his back, especially for him, like you say, compared to the treatment of Dean Douglas. He's very very generous here. Troy, another man of WrestleMania weekend fame with our Matty. But yeah, post match we have Doc Hendricks who's quick on the ball to tell Vader and Cornette that Yoko is next. I do feel Corny does a good job here of selling kind of half the fear and half the fact, well, you just saw what we're going to do to Razor. Guess what we're going to do to Yoko next. I think they do a good job of setting that up. I like that little kind of bonus on the end of the match to set up the very soon coming In Your House. And then from there we go backstage. You have The Undertaker and Paul Bearer are in cyberspace apparently in 1996. Very early. Well, imagine that when you were playing E-Feds back in the day. It turned out it was actually Paul Bearer that was on the other end of the chat, and not just some teenager in his bedroom in America. But yeah, we also get some Todd selling hats as well, don't we? And sports shirts, I think is what he calls them. Even says like a polo shirt. There's a Shawn one, there's a Warrior one, there's a Taker one, and you get a free hat. I mean, again, I would have been right there on the phone if I was allowed with a credit card, willing to pay whatever to get these things.
Oh God! I mean, look, I'm a sucker for these. These looked like absolute shit, and I wanted all of them.
It's like the send your cable bill ad that comes off later in the night, where it's like apparently if you sent it, you got like a Polaroid and 5 minutes of long distance call time. Like I remember, like it couldn't have been one of these ones. It must have been a couple of years ago. My mate Simon Owen, who lived at the bottom of our road when I was a kid, apparently sent his TeleWest cable bill all the way to America in the hope that he was going to be one of the first 50,000 people. And I was like, I don't think it works that way. I think they've actually paid for the pay-per-view, and that's how it works. I don't think just sending your fucking cable bill is actually going to figure it out. But I'm not sure he ever got his Polaroids or whatever he was supposedly offered on that one. I feel like the international shipping would have ruined the point of it for the Fed. But yeah, I would have always been on the line. Luckily we couldn't make such phone calls.
Oh, 100%, man. It was always like something like a Stone Cold Steve Austin pendant or something, wasn't it? Like a little skull necklace or whatever. Blatantly, whatever was left in the warehouse that hadn't sold out the merch catalog, they were like chucking it away on these pay-per-view bill things. I wanted one.
I get it. I'd wear that forever. I'd wear it every day. I'd wear it to school. I'd still be wearing it to this day. Saying that, I probably would. There's probably some truth on that.
Do you think it would have counted if we'd have like sent our Sky bill in if we'd ordered like Rebellion on Sky Box Office or something? Maybe they could send us like a good pay-per-view for once.
Might have got something. Might have got a pen. I once wrote when I was a kid around this time. I'm remembering now. I actually wrote a letter to TNT to tell them how much I enjoyed Nitro. Sorry, mate. I was on the other side of history. I did flip the channel and was very much into my Cartoon Network Friday nights. And they sent me back a letter. It must have been some staffer in the TNT UK office who sent me a letter back on headed paper that had the WCW Nitro logo on it. And honestly, it was my most prized possession for years. It was like some like condescending letter, because I honestly think 12-year-old me was sending a letter, and I think I mentioned in it that my favorite wrestlers were DDP and Sting, because I got to remember, well, if I mentioned that, they might send me a t-shirt or something. Like this fucking bod in an office somewhere in Kent would be able to get their hands on a Sting t-shirt, but they just sent me a nice letter going back home. But thank you for your support, glad you enjoyed the program, Richard. And that was that. But still cool to have nice. Simple pleasures. Paper with the Nitro logo on it was a rare thing. Didn't get to see that logo in real life, so however they managed to do it, I was very happy.
I always hated that, like how those TV offices would be in Kent, or like I think at the Silver Vision, like send it if you want more information on videos, I guess. I'm sure like one of their offices is in like Middlesex or something, and I wanted to think of like
so much less cool
Tower type building with a massive with like a massive Fed logo on, but in Middlesex or Milton Keynes or maybe
in Slough.
It's a tiny corner office in Slough, yeah.
Oh well, simpler times, more innocent times, but yeah, I love that advertising. And we go to according to the tape at least, our big semi-main event of the night, which is the tag team title match that we have here with the Body Donners and the Godwins, obviously built around the whole, and they tell a story across the summer, don't they, with Phineas in love with Sonny, and she does the switcheroo, doesn't she? She's the smoking guns at one point, and then she's the Godwins manager, and then she's back to the Body Donners. And they do a whole thing with her here, but that's pretty much the backdrop for this one. Phineas is falling for a nonsense. A picture ends up in the slot bucket, and in between that, a 6-minute match happens. Any big notes on this one before we get to where we're obviously desperate to get to?
Not really. I did like there was I can't remember the gag he's trying to do, but Jerry Lawler badly blows some crass joke about Sonny shagging in cars. And he just
she's never seen a backseat or something like that until she was 15 or something like that. Ugh.
He just has to like sort of I got that one wrong or something, didn't I? I was like, that was nice. That felt like a bit of karma. And this was the one. Oh, he's the worst, man. This was the one where so the Body Donners and the Godwins, the WWE is cloning wrestlers to make a tag division. So you had Skip and they make a Zip. You had Henry and they make a Phineas. You had Marty and they make a Leaf. Like every major tag team is just like
Billy and Bart's
another one of them. Billy and Bart's pretty much the same. Pretend cowboy fake brothers. It's I think ultimately like time is kinder at this period than say like the bulk of the 2000s and 2010s. Where like they would just show open disdain for the tag division and let like monsters beat up 10 guys. But I remember this always being considered the worst the WWF tag division had ever been, this 1996 run.
They tried in such a low stakes way, didn't they? With such low rent gimmicks and low rent teams, and obviously there's great wrestlers in there, like Chris Candido, but it's always the low rent partner, isn't it? It's all of that. It's just there's just something very lame in there at midnight, and it's part of what it made wrestling tag teams uncool in the mid-90s. Like it wasn't the thing I was desperate to see on these shows. Like all of the teams were lame, and the whole story around it was lame as well. And this match is lame. Nothing really to it other than Sonny describing for all of that. Like how, always the go-to.
How are the Body Donners doing Twin Magic stuff? They don't look like Tom Pritchard doesn't look like Chris Candido. I don't get it.
Speaking of cloning as well, Cloudy turns up too as well, doesn't she?
Yeah.
As the Sunny clone as well. You get that too. It's just yeah, we got great stuff to come in the summer of 1996 with this tag division. But yeah, unless you've got anything more on that non-match, that we can get to the heavy duty stuff. Obviously, we have, and this is where we have the advert for the next In Your House with the old Warrior footage in. But I appreciate the fact that we're getting in early with the advertising for In Your House 8. That takes us to a Mark Miro promo backstage again, building up the stuff with Hunter. Not a bad promo from him. But yeah, all to take us to, and yeah, in my run time, at least the division I've been watching on Daily Motion at the grand old time, I think it's an hour and 20 minutes. We're already at our main event on this show, which is coincidentally is how long it's taken us to talk about the show. So it's about a minute for a minute. I think that kind of works out. Yeah, all in all, even if you included the pre-show on this one, it's like a less than 2 hour show. I'm fine with it, but yeah, feels a little bit like if people are paying, I feel like another match could have gone in here. But yeah, we go to our main events, and obviously we get the big build up for the no holds barred with Shawn and Diesel. This is where we get the little recap video with the mixed up footage and all of the stuff with the tag belts. Obviously included in this recap we can talk about is the Diesel 10 at MSG, and we have the couple of the pair, at least a glimmer of the pair of promos that were on the free for all, where Diesel promises that he has something for Vince, which we'll get into with the match itself. But what did you make of this story? I was always like, maybe it's the emotional side of me that I've got attached to it, that like, obviously I think it's genius that, well, Shawn's just beat Brett, we're trying to get him over the hump as the top guy. Perfect first opponent is Diesel, like perfect person to give him like that credible big win. They even sell him the commentary, he beat the technical guy, but now he's got to be in a no holds barred match, and he's in a big fight against the big man. Is he really a top guy? Can he prove it? It's perfect from that point of view. But maybe it's just a 12-year-old in me that just didn't want to see Shawn and Diesel fight. Like, it's unfortunately baked into wrestling, isn't it? It's like when I'll hear you and Sidge often talk about this type of stuff with wrestling, where the storytelling just has to be dumb, because at the end of the day, what we're selling is dumb. Like in any movie or TV show you watch, Shawn and Diesel could have just been friends forever. It could have been, they made up. Yeah, Diesel's a baddie. Yeah, Shawn's a goodie. But it might have a few a bit of an impact in stories and different things going on. But they can both coexist in the world, and everything is fine. In wrestling, every pairing, whether it be friendship, rivalry, or any association, always has to result in a match, doesn't it? This is why it's dumber than films, because there's always got to be a one-on-one fight between anybody who's got interaction with anybody else. Any partnership, any team, any relationships, always got to go there. And I always thought it was quite cool that like Shawn was this new or soon-to-be babyface world champion. Diesel was clearly a heel, but they were still mates on the side. There was a little bit of tension, but they were still fine. Even this MSG tag, they were still teaming together. It was still good. It was fine. Shawn had this mate who was a bit of a rogue, but we kind of got on with it. Added a bit of layered storytelling, but no. We had to go the old wrestling way. And I do remember the footage airing on Raw. And it is a weird time, isn't it, that they do such a big angle on a house show with Diesel hitting Shawn in the back with the steel chair. I suppose it was consistent with the character of Diesel that they'd add to this point, and it does give us this great match. But yeah, 12-year-old me was crying some tears for this one.
Yeah, I mean, I was like you, I was a dudes with attitudes truther to the bitter end. But I really, really loved this. Like, I think this stands up now, and I liked it then. I like how, like, this is my kind of book in this, because it's just smart plotting. It's really good plotting. So you get the night after the Survivor Series, and like, when Shawn passes out, he's wearing the black gloves, isn't he? When he passes out on that Raw after Survivor Series, because from that night onwards, he's shown solidarity to Diesel. And then we reviewed, obviously, when Diesel shows it back by battering Owen Hart, and the two go into the Rumble. And it's from the moment Shawn wins the Rumble by last eliminating Diesel that, like, Diesel being who he is now, it's starting to feel like that's a betrayal more than it is just every man for himself. And it eats away and it eats away and it eats away. And the very moment that Diesel turns at Madison Square Garden, in Diesel's mind, is to be the biggest possible bastard. By hitting him with the chair there, he's potentially weakening his back before he has his title match. And then Shawn might lose to Brett And what does Diesel know about Brett? He thinks, well, I can beat Brett. If I get one more shot of Brett, I can get my title back. But he doesn't know that about Shawn. So he picks the cruelest point to turn. Like that chair shot could have happened at any point. But what he's tried to do is weaken Shawn before the Iron Man match. And how that like sort of overlaps with the Undertaker match at WrestleMania, so that Diesel gets his comeuppance from the Undertaker, but Shawn Michaels has still got that valid afters that he wants. He's like, I haven't forgotten about that. Like I was so focused on the Iron Man match, I was able to switch that off, but don't think I was going to switch it off forever. Just because the Undertaker's beaten you, I haven't beaten you, and I need that. And I'll like that to me is like that's my catnip as a wrestling fan, because I want like from November onwards, I want to like map out something going just like that. And I don't want like an injury to happen, or I don't want one of the wrestlers to politic it and change it. I want all of those like logical decisions to take us where we're going. Like we're here sat in 2025. Like it gives me no great pleasure to say that like I feel like I'm watching the wheels finally fall off, like modern day WWE. But after about 6 months of Triple H having the book of that main roster, this sort of plotting was the norm again, and this sort of plotting was the like that gripping week to week stuff with that cast of characters. And I'll live for this sort of thing. And to get what really helps, obviously, is that every match along the way, ironically, apart from the Iron Man match, every match along the way, like, is really strong as well. Diesel versus The Undertaker is really strong. Shawn and Diesel's last minute together in the Royal Rumble is absolutely gripping. Them, as you say, still kind of being awkward friends, even when one's a babyface and one's a heel. They're kind of intoxicating together until the split happens. And then obviously you get this match as well, because the in-ring is delivering and the plotting is so tight. This is no wonder it drew. This is fed best in class. This is what I live for.
Well, it's like you say with like the more current, or at least not right now, but last few years and stuff, whether I liked it or not, often I didn't like it. I respected the thought was being put in, and that was the big difference, wasn't it? Whether you like the end product or not, you can tell these things are being thought about, and that is the genius of this. Whether 12-year-old me was, and I guess the point is, happy with it taking place or not. The genius of the booking is, well, like we talked about Razor going out on his back earlier. Really, ideally, what you want. Diesel shouldn't be beating Undertaker at WrestleMania, and he should also be putting Shawn over on his way out. And they find a way to thread the needle and do both. He can lose to Undertaker. Undertaker streak stays alive. Not that it was a thing at that point, but Undertaker gets that scalp. You don't have to put Nash over to justify him getting this title shot, because you've got that personal issue. Like, it mechanically gets you where you want to go at the end as well. It's like the type of thing I could imagine a cornet laying out going, no, we can get from A to B, and we can get as much of our scalp from Kevin Nash before he fucks off as we possibly can, and have two big losses along the way. This is how you do it. Absolutely.
Do you know what's only just hit me now? So like Diesel shits the bed against the Bulldog at In Your House 4. He loses on every pay-per-view after that. He loses to Brett. He loses by DQ to Owen because he won't stop beating him up. He gets eliminated from the Rumble. He loses to Brett in the cage. Further, he loses to The Undertaker. And he loses.
Jesus Christ.
Pay-per-view defeats in a row.
But the way they've laid it out, you don't think about it, do you? You don't think he's a loser. He gets a ski back every time, and every match is justified. It's isolated existence is totally justified. Fucking hell. Yeah, that's young. People give these click lads grief. Look at that. Beautiful.
Being a heel, being a bastard, isn't giving him any rewards. That's the story. Like, becoming this arsehole is not giving him the validation that he wants. He's losing. He's stacking up the losses. I've never noticed that.
And it's perfect as well, because you don't want him to stick around longer, because this should be the definitive one. He loses to Shawn. It gets silly, wouldn't it, if like next month he loses to Mark Mero or something like that, or dare I say Ahmed Johnson. Like, that's where you build it to, and their jobs there don't get ridiculous. They all mean something in isolation. Yeah, absolutely. They stumbled on something there. Love it. Absolutely right. But to get to the match, one of my absolute favourites of all time, probably my favourite Shawn match in '96. Dare I say it? Although there might be some competition later in the year. We'll see when we get there. Obviously, the one a lot of people would go for is later in the year of a similar type to this one. But obviously, you have to get the big Diesel entrance. He throws his coat on Vince, which the camera does unfortunately miss, which isn't quite as promised, I don't think, but it's fun. And again, Lawler plays it up. Does play it up well for his part of the wind-up merchant with Vince out there. Shawn, by comparison, is backstage taking things very seriously with him and Hans Mormon stood there. Just giving him a bit of a chest massage, trying to it's Jose Lothario, isn't it, trying to get him ready. God, one of the fucking Shawn Michaels at the prime of his life, looking like a Greek god, and he's got this fucking peanut stood next to him. I'll never get over it, and I'm going to complain about it every month going forward. It's just, even in his book that you could tell he didn't really write, he still managed to get it in there that, yeah, you know what, when I was world champion, maybe I should have left Jose at home. Maybe that should have been a one and done thing for WrestleMania. What is he doing out there? It's just it's the least cool thing ever. It's like bringing your dad with you, isn't it? It's like when I used to play for my school team, and my dad would come and watch at the sidelines, and all the kids would go, "Oh, your dad's here." It felt like that. Felt like he's a bit old for that. Doesn't need his dad to drop him off at school.
That has absolutely decked me. I love as well how in this one, and I feel like we're going to see this every month. But Shawn is using the intensity of the Diesel match to make it look like he's in sort of fight mode. He's just tunnel visioned, isn't he? Like, as you pointed out earlier on, when he enters, he throws the sign up, but ultimately he's just eyes are on the prize, eyes are on Diesel. But it's anything he can come up with to just not acknowledge the existence of Jose Lothario.
You know, when that camera goes off, he's like, "Now fuck off, you cunt, get back in your hole." Yeah. There's just no way he likes him being there. It's like a gigantic rib, isn't it? He's finally got what he wanted. He's finally the guy, and he's got to have this bloke with him at all times. He's flying coach while Shawn's first class, but he gets to the destination and he's fucking there, isn't he? Every time.
I love it when little bit of the millionth housekeeping spoiler for when we do our little travel update in the next episode.
It will be a long show.
Coming into Calgary from the airport, and literally drove past. I was staring out the window like a dog, drove past that path that Brett runs along, but when it's icy, and when he complains and he says they've got me running along ice where you can see the Calgary skyline, and then they've got Shawn doing upside down chin ups, and that really pisses Brett off, doesn't it? The contrast of that made me look like an old man, and he's in the prime of his life. Jose Lothario sticking around feels like a revenge for that, doesn't it? It's upside down chin ups, but Jose is the one lifting him up and down on the bar.
Oh. Did you go for that jog? I've got to ask. Did you go for an icy jog at any point while you were in Calgary?
There were two reasons why I didn't. Number one is because we were there for such a short amount of time. I had all the other Calgary landmarks to tick off. And the other was because I just didn't want to get attacked by a bear. So, fair. It just, I had to make a rational decision. But the path itself, you could do it. You could honestly do the Bret Hart jog. I'm going back to Calgary, Benno. I'm going back.
You got to go back. You got to do it. You got to go back. There you go. It's set. Brilliant. Can't wait to hear all about it. Next housekeeping, there's your tease for it, folks. Can't wait to have a chat about all that. But yeah, like you say, Shawn does come out. He plays it. It's good. He throws up the click sign. It's the most famous one over these, but it's not like Nash throws one back at him. They both stay fully in character as far as staring at each other, hating each other, which is again another reason why it's fucking daft that he does it. But whatever. And he comes out, and I just. Honestly, from the moment this starts, Shawn goes right for him. It's immediately heated, isn't it? I love any Shawn match where they're fighting while he's still got the chaps on. He's doing leapfrogs and drop kicks while he's trying to get the chaps off. It kind of leads to a baseball slide, but he does the moonsault / half cross body thing to the outside to Diesel. Goes after him with a boot, not the boot that would be a factor in the finish, but another boot as well. Immediately before we get to the heat, it's just very clearly this is on, this is a fight, this is serious, and this is unlike anything Shawn Michaels has been in, and the fucking crowd are losing their minds. Biggest star in wrestling in 1996. Here he is. He has arrived.
Oh, it's magic, man. The fist fight these two have, where Shawn is ducking and weaving friggin' Neo in the Matrix avoiding bullets. And then because Diesel can't hit him with a fist, he just drills him with that knee. And Shawn flies through the air off. It doesn't matter. You can pepper Diesel with your right and your left. one big knee from Big Daddy Cole and you are fucking down. Like that instantly. They keep going back to that as well. Like it's one Diesel strike for every 10 of Shawn's, and they keep that ratio constantly. It's such a through line in this match, and they established that from the word go. You're right, like the energy that they understand. I watched them. I don't know if you got a chance to, the watch along that Nash and Michaels did for Shawn's DVD that has just reappeared on the vault, much to our suspicions. Let us know. We welcome you. Want to come on the podcast, purveyor of the WWE Vault channel, if you want to. But they're talking about, obviously, like, they were both willing to throw a few live rounds here, not only because they're mates, but because they were both this was gonna be it. And like they talked about so many details about this match on endless car rides, but with the opportunity now that Diesel was leaving to let it potentially physically get a little bit near the knuckle. Like that comes through as well. If one sort of tags the other for real, that only adds to the energy and adds to the heat. And I think you can really sense that throughout.
Yeah. It's got a very, I think maybe the reason I love this so much is the same reason I love the Hell in a Cell 1997 match with Shawn and Taker, the best Hell in a Cell match. Like, because if you do you remember that bloke who was on Twitter who used to and I couldn't understand why he did it, but he'd have he tried to do real sport at wrestling. It'd be like the amount of shots hit, the amount of punches hit in the match would be 27 for this wrestler, and 14 for the other. It'd be like a heat map, and it'd be like, this person had 70% of the offense, this person had 30% of the offense. And I'm still not sure to this day what you actually gathered or could learn from that data, but it was interesting data nonetheless. The best thing about that Hell in a Cell 97 match and this match is if you did that for this match, because until, obviously, we'll get to the big powerbomb bump on the outside, but even until you get to that point, it becomes 90% Diesel. Like, if you just did it pure as a heat map, it's one-sided, and you'd kind of go, oh, that's a pretty boring story. They're not really doing anything. Same with the Undertaker match. Like, to a layman, it's just Undertaker beating up Shawn Michaels for 20 minutes. And to be fair, partially it is. But the reason Shawn makes that work, and the reason you should show both of those matches in wrestling training schools, because exactly as you said then, for every 5 shots that Shawn's taken, it's because Diesel's are stronger. Diesel can hit him that bit harder, but he's always fighting. Even if he's like on the losing end of the fight, he's always doing something. He's always scrapping. He's always trying to stay involved. And it's just like, it's that little bit that turns it from Diesel's just squashing him and it's boring for 10 minutes to Shawn adding the excitement by staying in it. Because it's that, and it's also the way he bumps around for Diesel. Like, the big cutoff is like the flip bump he takes in the corner, and like you said there, he hits like the elbow and he goes off onto the guardrail, which is like just a brilliant bump visually.
What a bump!
But safe as houses as well, because that's Shawn, isn't it? Like, it's like he timed to perfection. It's not as great as a Foley bump with this would be. Foley would have been head first with his head going into a hole in the concrete on the floor. Shawn does it a lot safer, but it arguably looks just as cool. But AG's doing that for every bit of one of Diesel's offense here, the big bump for the sidewalk slam, the bit where Diesel grabs him and chokes him in the ropes with he obviously chokes, that moment where he chokes out the ref. It's just oh fuck, this is serious stuff. I think that's the second moment of the night, on top of Ultimate Warrior lighting up a cigar and having a smoke, where you can tell Vince seems a little bit uncomfortable and a little bit unhappy with it. I've gone, what are we doing? But the way he kind of straps him to the ropes and chokes him there, and Shawn's just I know it's probably a lot of people's dream / nightmare to see Shawn in that position. The way he's selling it is just unbelievable, but he's still clawing back at Diesel. He's still trying to fight back. He's still trying to stay in it, even when he's there, even when he's getting hit with the chair and the ropes, even, into, the mini comeback that he has here. It's just, there's all those little things. Brett's got the same quality that are happening underneath the broader story that's being told. It's absolutely beautiful stuff. And that little, like you say, edge to it, that little hint of additional violence makes it feel unlike any other WWF match at the time.
You can say, you've been in a wrestling ring before, and I haven't, but you can say that you're supposed to relate to the babyface when you're watching the babyface. If he's your guy, he's supposed to be your avatar or whatever it is. People would always say this about Steve Austin. Wouldn't you love to punch your boss? I was like, not really. I'd probably just want to go in and have a chat with my boss about getting a pay rise. I wouldn't want to attack them physically, but I get the messaging of it, Shawn Michaels, and it's funny you mentioned Brett, because I think that's what separates them two from pretty much everybody else I've ever seen since, truthfully. like Shawn here, I have never and will never be in a brawl with a guy who's like nearly twice my size, in which I can like grab a weapon and hit somebody. I hope not. Anyway, I hope that never happens to me. But Shawn sells the desperation of the position he's put in by the beating he's taking so well that every time something happens to him, you're with him, you're in his body. There's a bit where he's like, so with every blow, he's suddenly 10% weaker. So you can see he's selling even more dazed. And soon enough, that dazed turns to dead selling. Shawn does some brilliant like dead selling in this one. So the fact that he powers up out of it is all the more impressive. But there's like a bit where he goes, he's attacking. And rather than just flying off the corner with something, he goes out to the floor and just grabs a desk fan and flies off the top with a desk fan just because he can. And it's like, well, what would be better than my usual flying axe handle? A desk fan in my hand, and that takes Diesel out. But the problem is that seemingly all you can ever do is keep Diesel down for like a second at a time. Now that presents Shawn with two problems. Number one, how is he going to pin him for 3? Number two, how is he even going to stop him to try? And then all of a sudden Nash is back up. And like, I love that you bring up the Undertaker Hell in a Cell, because on the commentary, Shawn, there's a point at which in this match where they have a double down, and Shawn says, and you can totally believe this, that a lot of the big guys he worked with back then didn't think the fans would believe in a double down with the big guy and Shawn Michaels, like how he would be saying, and we'll do this, and then we'll get to a double down. And the big guy, and for some reason, King Kong Bundy popped into my head, but there'll be loads of big guys, I'm sure, that'll be like, how are the fans going to believe that me, a giant, and you, Shawn Michaels, are both going to be down for a 10 count at the same time? And he says Nash and The Undertaker were the two that always got it, and they would always understand. As long as the story dictates that we can get to a point where we're both down. So that means you've got to kick the fucking shit out of me, but every time I punch you, you've got to batter me. And then at some point, after 15 minutes of that, our energy meters will be down at the same time. And then we'll so like Diesel strangling Shawn with that frigging belt after, as you point out, he's taken the ref, not just take the ref for taking the ref's sake. He's done it because he wants to steal the referee's belt. Like, Diesel's like spotted an opportunity there. So like they're both working with that energy meter format to get to that point late in the bout where they can both be down at the same time. And again, it's stuff they must have talked about in the car. Like, sorry as well, I'm stepping on your dick for the actual review of the match here. But what must have been so nice for these two as well. Imagine getting to tell the David and Goliath story the right way round after the fucked up version at WrestleMania 11, where Diesel has somehow got to be the value. They must have been over the moon that they got to do this match the right way. Because I like WrestleMania 11, but it's like, it's Bizarro World like agenting, isn't it? It's all they knew that was going to turn Shawn babyface. That match, they knew it was going to go wrong. And then this time, where it's the way it should be, you can tell that they're thrilled that they get to do this match the proper way. Like fucking, oh God, Diesel catches Shawn's super kick, and it's like all those years of Shawn tagging Diesel with the super kick, and finally they're in a position where Diesel can catch it, because that's the dynamic now. Like, he's learned, and he's a bastard, and he's a villain, and it's like they must have been buzzing to finally like get these spots out.
It's funny that you say that, because like now that I think about it, I was mentioning there the Hell in a Cell match. I love that too. But Shawn's the heel there, but he's doing it's the same principle, isn't it? It's the same one of yours for 5 of mine, just as the heel, and he tells it in a different way. So I suppose they're more like mirror images each other rather than like the exact same match. But no, totally agree, absolutely. Like I love. There's so many layers to kind of the way that they put this together that, you know. Yes, Diesel gives Shawn a lot, like Undertaker would give Shawn a lot. And like you say, there's a reason there why Shawn and Brett had their best matches with Big Ben, was usually with them two, because them two got it, and they got kind of how you properly tell a story with like a smaller man in here. But like it's different level stuff, and like it all kind of builds to, obviously we have Shawn does get his little moments. He does get like the moment where Diesel tries to hit him with the chair, and the chair bounces back and hits him in the head, but Shawn again, momentum goes back to Diesel, but he hits the again, and that's a spot that a lot of people have tried and a lot of people have made look terrible, the old bouncy off the rope thing. Shawn, Diesel kind of nails it, doesn't he?
Almost like Shawn almost like crucifixes himself on the ropes as if to invite Diesel to hit him, and he's playing possum. He's pulled himself up to the top rope and he's made himself so available that Diesel thinks, great, I'll get him, and that's when Shawn can move. And if you think about it, what did we learn on an old In Your House? It was on the Raw on the roof behind the scenes that the Vault put up. Shawn knows that ECW exists. So he's seen ECW, and he's seen like the chair shot heard around the world. He's seen like times when you can use, he's seen like Sabu, RIP. He's seen early days Rob Van Dam making these chair spots mean more. And he's like, hang on, we're allowed to do some shit with a chair, are we? Right then. Like the logic behind the violence throughout this match is like, I talk about it with Brett, you can't get a piece of paper through the logic in this match. Like everything builds so like elegantly. This is not a run-of-the-mill garden variety hardcore match. Far from it.
No. And like I say, they use a moment like that to kind of seesaw the momentum, but Diesel gets it back with the low blow, which again pays off later when Shawn has to do one of his own. It kind of justifies Shawn kind of going to that place, which kind of comes not long after this. But like I say, that heat segment of it is long and earned, and it culminates in the spot that I think everybody pictures when they think of this match, which is when they roll out to the outside and Diesel in like the most casual way ever. And I love that about it, because like it feels like the commentary aren't clued in on it. Like he literally just grabs Shawn and just without like the modern setup of grabbing the monitors and brushing stuff away and the commentators having enough time to get out the way. The commentators are in the middle of a call. Like literally, I think it's either Vince or Lawless like shouts, "No, not on the floor," because they just, in kayfabe, they would assume Diesel's about to powerbomb Shawn on the floor, and he powerbombs him through the table. Like, and only I've seen Brett obviously take a similar bump through the table, but like they're the two that are just like, it's so pretty in that like Shawn goes right, it's like the exact center, right in the middle of the monitors, right in the middle of all the clutter, and it's just like the most perfect but also like the safe table bump you'll ever see. It's like they've watched a bit of that ECW TV and it's gone, I'll do that, but I'll do it in a much safer way, in a much more controlled way. But it was like the fucking coolest thing to get to see on WWF TV at this point. Like I say, Brett aside, you didn't see these spots too often. It wasn't a common thing, and like honestly blows my mind every time I see it how perfectly it gets pulled off.
The sort of curse, really, wasn't it? As over to this day as tables are. We're nearly 30 years on from Brett's first one at the Survivor Series. Like Brett and Shawn find the sweet spots. Like maybe with the exception of Foley at King of the Ring 98, they're the two best table bumps ever, and they're the first two.
Yeah, agreed.
Like that's. Were they ever better than those first two? I'm not so sure they were.
No.
Like the monitors and the detritus falling on top of Shawn, so that when he is actually able to get himself up and Vince is telling him, just quit. Just look at, you're an absolute state, just quit. Shawn is having,
let it be over, he says, doesn't he? Let it be over.
Off him. Oh my God. And like Diesel is so certain that he's taking the belt in the ring and he's asking the referee to strap it around his waist, and it's not like this kind of arrogant, when heels would like think they'd won by count out and hold the belt up and you'd be like being thick. You can buy in the story that Diesel's think, well, I've just murdered him, I'm the champion by default, because he's not getting up from that, and then he does, and all of a sudden you're like, right, well, Shawn Michaels is different gravy. Like this man who I thought was the boy toy, the white meat, the boyhood dream, like he's also the toughest guy on the roster. Like this is so effective at leaving Shawn Michaels as the even more complete package going into his big long year as champion.
Yeah, I'll take that Diesel celebrating it. It's better than when it was the reverse, when it was remember Ted DiBiase doing laps around the ring with the belt when he thought Sid had beat him. Didn't buy that one. Bought this one 100%. My only negative, like minor negative criticism on the match was you would have thought Shawn would stay down for longer, because it happened quite quick. Like the whole angle with Vince going, let it be over, stay down, which is great. Like it's a really good spot and it fits in the match, but it feels a little bit quick. You kind of feel like he'd be on the floor a little bit longer. But hey, Diesel's leaving. It's fine. He can fight back up, and like that's where the sea change happens with the match, isn't it? It's almost like you said there, with different seeds of like Diesel learning from Shawn in the previous matches. It's almost like at that point it's clicked with Shawn. All right, he's going to fight dirty. Well, fuck it, I've got to fight dirty too. He literally goes to that place, doesn't he? It starts with obviously with the fire extinguisher. Then he himself starts fighting back with the chair, which again is like a callback to Diesel doing it earlier in the match. Obviously, Diesel's still fighting back. You still have that seesaw of momentum with the big boots in the air, and he kind of gets him up for the power bomb. Thinks it's over again. Over cocky babyface. Shawn punches his way out again. Crowd are losing their mind just seeing, like, again, it's a bit of a Hulk up really that Shawn's doing at this point in the match, but it feels earned, and it feels like everybody's there with him, kind of just going, go on, yeah, you are a bit smaller, but you can fight that little bit harder. You can fight and punch your way out. He manages to punch his way out. He does the stomp, he does the elbow, and that's where, they go to the super kick spot where Diesel wipes him out with the clothesline. It's just absolutely beautiful stuff, but it's all, like you said, built on the previous matches and the previous relationship, but built on things that happened earlier in the match as well. It's just all been thought through, all been meticulously plotted out in some, I presume, motel room on the way out to Nebraska with the click sat back, or in the back of a van, most likely with Hunter being the wheelman at the front. It's just absolutely beautiful stuff.
There's one last note from the commentary that I thought makes the most sense here. Always bothers me that Brett and Shawn always had way more in common than either would have wanted to admit back then. I like to think of Brett and Shawn as the people that bonded over Hulk Hogan being a prick at WrestleMania 9 rather than being at separate tables at catering in the rest of the night. Is because Shawn says on the commentary about this match, think about how many wrestlers used to give Brett shit for how much he wanted actually to celebrate his own legacy, how he wanted to have posters, and how he wanted to keep record of his career. And Shawn says, unprompted on this commentary, he says, you want to put something on tape that people remember. And there are only certain wrestlers back then that used to think about matches getting rewatched. There would be plenty of wrestlers that would just talk about wrestling like it was a town that night, and they were never going to think about idiots like me and you reviewing it on a podcast decades later. But Shawn Michaels thought about it in those terms, and the state of play by the time Shawn is hitting that elbow, the position of Diesel in the ring, because he's got that long body. Shawn has to do that thing where he steers through the sky when he hits the elbow drop, and when he's hitting him with the chair, he's pulled the chair up, and it's just brought that sound monitor equipment with it. And it's just hanging off on cables, and there's just shit everywhere, and it's that mess is just that it's the icing on the cake at this point. And because of where Diesel's positioned, nothing is quite right, but as a result, everything is perfect.
Which is interesting because that's the just position of the two of them. I suppose Diesel's out of position there, but as soon as they get up and they go to obviously it's the finishing stretch at this point, Shawn knows where Mad Dog Vachon is. Shawn knows which side of the ring he needs to get out on, because he gets up and he feeds to that right corner so they can do the line over the top and go to the outside. That's him pulling it back on track, isn't it? Okay, this is where we need to be, and this is where we need to be next. And obviously, again, the other big memorable point of the match is the stuff with the leg, which is, I think, is done well. I think Diesel goes to throw Shawn back in, doesn't he? And he kind of half steps up on the apron, and then half just hang on, I've just had an idea. And the commentary picks up on it as well. It's hokey, but it's good. I liked it when he goes out and obviously pulls the leg off of Vachon, which is done really well. He doesn't really bump him. He just kind of grabs him a bit and shakes him a bit, and he rolls over. It's a proper old man bump, but it's genuinely shocking when you see it. And he pulls the prosthetic leg off of him, which is just pure, again, perfect heel stuff. Commentary oversells it, but I think sells it well enough. Although it does make Shawn look a bit of a prick when he gets it himself, and rather than give it back, he just uses it as a weapon instead of there's a poor old man writhing on the outside. I think Vince literally says on commentary, "Oh, I don't think Shawn even knows what he's got in his hand." Okay, he's just kind of suppose he's going to use it as a weapon. Whereas the dickhead Shawn Michaels in real life's yeah, it is your fucking leg, you knobhead. Have that. But it's brilliant. He uses it. I love the visual of Shawn tapping his own foot with the foot. You got to add a little bit of cocking Shawn charisma in the end. Hits the super kick, and it's 1, 2, 3, and it's over. And again, the story of the match has taken place. Shawn has had to stoop to the levels that the dirty, dastardly Diesel has stooped to with pulling the leg off. Has had to use it himself, and has won one fucking hell of a award. It's a fantastic finish as well. I'm tempted to go 5 stars on this. I can't remember what I gave it when we did we're getting into Shawn territory. We did the capital letter Shawn podcast on GRAPPL where we went through 1996. I feel like I went at least 4.5 on this one, but it's got a perfect ending to boot as well. Pardon the pun.
This is why I'm no good with star ratings, because for me, like, if this isn't a 5, what's the 5? Like, I'll find this to be, yeah, perfect. You know, like you highlighted a flaw with the how quickly Shawn gets up, but then I suppose it becomes your mental debate over whether or not that accounts for like knocking, say, like a quarter of a star off or something. I'm a bit of a rancor with my heart, and I know I must have watched this match 20, 30 times. Like I know I've watched this match loads, and I watched it back today through the square in the corner of the Michaels Nash commentary, and found myself watching the little square in the corner just to see the match again, because I just find it so intoxicating. Like, I find it such, like, it's not an easy match to watch, isn't the words, but it is. Like, there's probably not a time you're not in the mood for it, because this is everything. You get a bit of everything out of this, like right down to Shawn after the fact. I love, like, you'll love this, I know you will, but like Shawn doing the Hogan poses down the lens and saying like, oh yeah, you want to play with big boys? They're like giving it like, and catching the eye.
This is where the big boys play.
Like, yeah, this is where the big boys play. And the idea that your biggest boy, I've just beat him and sent him packing down to you. Like, what have you like? And this is your point. This is your point about the Wire with Sopranos, because like, Shawn, they're about to launch the fucking NWO, mate. You're in real trouble. But like, he doesn't know that,
and you're gonna want to go there. In 3 months, you're gonna be wanting to move.
Yeah. He's thinking, like, what the fuck can the Dungeon of Doom versus like Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage do against me? Like, you get it, don't you? You're completely in his head thinking, like, you can only act like that if you know that you have hit a home run. And Shawn knows again that he's like, that he's become the showstopper. He's become everything that he said he was. Nobody can touch him. Nobody. And like, you must at that point feel so defiant in your position at the top of the mountain.
It feels layered as well. It feels like there's just a part of him that's just WWE's taking his mates in it. Like, he's mad at it. Like, he's literally like, he's almost like emotions to get fucking. It's not quite Earl Hebner top stuff. Just get or Jose Lothario, speaking of him at WrestleMania 12. But it's like, it's almost get out my fucking ring. Are you gonna go? Are you piss off then? Like, it's almost like the adrenaline gets to him, and it's like it's probably part that, isn't it? Like, the stealing his mates away, or his mates are abandoning him and leaving him to have to lead the shit without him. All of that, you know. Eddie Guerrero always talked about it, didn't he? Like, the pressure of being the guy. Brett's fucked off as well. Brett's kind of hoping he's gonna sing too, you know, and there's a passive aggressively watching on from the sides too. It's like, it's all of that coming to a head, isn't it? But I love it. I love the bit announced. It's not really for anyone, is it? Because, like, again, what's the percentage of people watching this at the time that understand that it's Hogan that he's having a go at? He's probably hoping that it's that Hogan and Bischoff and whoever else is watching the tape back at some point. But you love to see it at the same time as well, don't you? You love that. It's like a part like paranoia, part cockiness, part like, I am the fucking guy, I am the face of this, and we're going to beat you fuckers. Again, fast forward, they wouldn't, at least not yet. You know, a man called Steve would have to turn up later for that to happen. But that's what you want in 1996. It's just a brilliant way for it to end. And it's just, again, it almost adds to it too. Even if you take the context out of it, of what he's doing and the insidery nature of it, it's fucking fired up Shawn, who's just gone through a war. It works on that level too, doesn't it? There really is a truth to the story they're telling you, that like, no, he's arrived. He's a gen. Because forget, he just won the world title. Shawn Michaels is not the top guy in WWF until this point, I think. And at this point, it's like, no, he's the top guy, and he's making sure you know it.
And like Vince on commentary, which feels as much about man management as it does being a promoter, he says new standards have been set. Like, he just outright basically says, this is better. This is better. Whenever does Vince McMahon speak about wrestling being the thing that his product does better than anybody else's? It's like, that's as close as he gets to saying like, WWF, we're the best wrestle. Like, that's never his MO. And he's basically just watched this Shawn Michaels match, and he's been feeling this way about Shawn Michaels forever, and he's basically saying they have not got what we've got in Shawn Michaels, and he doesn't know that that's not going to be enough. But Shawn Michaels is going to watch that back and is going to have heard that line, and he's going to think, right, once a month, I need to be the best wrestler in the world. No biggie. That's my job. I've got to be the best wrestler in the entire world because that's what my boss has basically gone on pay-per-view and said he needs me to be in order for this company to thrive. And it's annoying because he does it and it doesn't work. So like, no wonder he went mental, because like he does. He sees his end of the bargain through and it makes no difference in the end. And I love that we're going to get to track this, like those two kind of colliding forces over the next like 6-7 months. It's an amazing thing. As awesome as these matches are, it's amazing to watch the measure of the man and the psyche and all of the politics and everything at the same time. It's a multi-pronged joy to, I think, live back through. Maybe not if you're Shawn Michaels, but if you're a fan, absolutely.
That is, I was about to say, that is literally like the life of a Shawn Michaels fan. But I don't really talking about Michael. You know, obviously this was great. And I know I mentioned that Brett's on the sidelines, and I know I mentioned Austin hasn't fully arrived yet, at least as Austin, you know, and obviously Nash has left and Hall has left. But I'm sure they've got like a slew of great challenges for him coming up next month. Oh, wait. Things go down the hill very quickly, don't they? Oh, well, we always have this moment. And obviously, some of the challenges towards the end of the year, but it's going to be fun going through it. And great way to end a fun show, to be honest. It's very much, it's really a one-match show. Like I said, I think I was a bit higher on Razor and Vader than you, but I think, you know, like totally get where you were coming from on that. But really, the rest of it's just all side dressing, isn't it, really? This is your stake, this is your main event, and this is what, you know, this show is remembered for, absolutely rightly. And I think it makes it a thumbs-up show regardless, isn't it? It's one of those where it doesn't, it's like Joe Kobashi and ROH, the undercard of that, not very good. I'm not quite saying this is Joe Kobashi, but we don't talk about that undercard in ROH, and we don't talk about the undercard here. This is the reason we're all here.
Yeah, absolutely. The highest of recommendations for that main event if you've never seen it, and then sort of a kind of would recommend isn't a word, but I encourage people to watch Warrior and Goldust just to say they've experienced it. But again, as a contrast between the two kinds of WWF, there's none greater than those two. And you know what I mean? Like for Shawn as well, knowing that the Warrior is a fossil that's destined to be out the door again soon enough. Like there's no greater example of it than probably on this show.
Now that you've mentioned it, I've got to throw the image up. I've got the WWF magazine up here. Like, just look at these images. Burned into my brain. Like Shawn fighting Diesel with the chair, the choke out with the referee's belt, as you mentioned. There was his image as well. And I think, oh, what a great show this looks like. I can't wait to watch this in 2 years. You see like the great stuff with the smoke from the fire extinguisher, and Diesel with the boot, Shawn getting the pin. Oh, what's this on the next page? It's Ultimate Warrior in a silly hat and a wig. Even as a kid, I was like, "Oh Christ, what is going on here with this comeback?" Jesus.
Benno, just while we've got that, can we zoom in on him in the director's chair? Have they photoshopped if you go back, have they photoshopped the cigar out of his hand or not? Is he smoking on that picture?
Oh yeah, I can't quite see it. I don't think I can go any closer on it. Twitter images, unfortunately, won't let me. But you know what?
We'll have to double check.
I just think you can't see the smoke. But they're being careful about it.
He's just there with a hat and a wig on instead.
It's Vince Russo, though. Vince Russo could do whatever he wanted with this magazine, couldn't he? Vince couldn't stop him. He'd do whatever Vince Russo wanted. But yeah, burned into my brain the images from this show. It definitely made it look like there you go. There's Vader going over Razor. I always remember that image as well with Razor trying to go for the Razor's edge and not hitting it. And again, they'd always make these shows look even better than they were, wouldn't they, in the pictures?
Yeah, every time, man.
Brilliant stuff.
Not least because we couldn't watch them. Thank God for Netflix in most countries, eh?
Most countries. And again, if anybody has any tips on how I could possibly find out a way to get myself on Netflix going forward in Thailand, that tip would very much be appreciated. But there we go. More of that coming up as long as I can get access. And of course, obviously, we've got the housekeeping coming up as well, where we'll be going through all of our travel stories and different what happened when Benno met Hamflett and the lovely pub that we went to, and the wonderful night we had, what feels like 6 million years ago. Maybe we can go into that as well.
I look forward to it, man. In the meantime, I suppose if you want to follow along with either of myself and Benno's exploits, you can do so. I'm at Michael Hamflett on X, formerly Twitter, and you can Google Michael Hamflett, WhatCulture, etc. on YouTube or Google or anywhere like that to find out all of our various misadventures in Las Vegas before we do that housekeeping. Phil and Fed's excellent adventure is on our regular podcast feed, along with our typical slate of weekly previews and reviews. It's being back in this studio is at least something to be grateful for, being back in this country, even if I can't get my hands on big gulps anymore. What's happening at the international branch of GRAPPL Towers right now, Benno?
Well, I can say I can't get my hand on big gulps. Can't be over not mentioning this. Been supping on this the whole show. A nice A&W root beer.
I saw it. Yeah,
from 7-Eleven in Thailand. They do have there's literally I've been told there's 500 7-Elevens just in Bangkok, not in Thailand. In Bangkok, and I can't believe it. There's 3 on my street. Like, they're just everywhere. They're just literally everywhere you'd say they're there. A&W root beer, mate, in Thai money works out to be about 16 pence once you convert it. Not getting that in despite it being God's country, they can't beat those prices. So I'll ship you a crate over, mate, once I figure out how.
Please.
It's incredible.
I'll PayPal you £1.
So give you the year's supply. You'll be absolutely set. But no, can't wait. I'll talk more of my Thailand adventures as well of yours. For my plugs, really, follow me on Twitter at Benson Richard E. Follow me on Instagram at Benson Richard E, and you'll get all of my Thailand photos that I've been spamming people with. Or join our Discord. We got a little. I made Connor, who runs our Discord, set up a little travel channel just so I could flood it with pictures of me dinner and such like. So if you're interested in such things, that's over there. And of course, over on the GRAPPL main feed, we're always covering the week's wrestling and everything going on at time of recording. Got a lot of fun stuff coming up in May. The first NXT takeover we're covering. We're doing a mixtape on NXT women's matches centered around the 4 horsewomen as well. So plenty of good stuff over there as well. And yeah, I'll be like everyone else. I'll be listening to your shows and catching up on your travels too. Been very much enjoying those. You and Phil look like you had a whale of a time. We'll do one of those together one day, mate. We'll do a Benno and Hamflett take Thailand, or Benno and Hamflett take the States. We'll find a way.
I mean, certainly that's how we can maybe end. We'll end season 1 of In Your House. We always said we'd podcast till the house came down. We'll just podcast till we go to the house ourselves. We'll just, wherever the location of Ground Zero was, I forget now. That can be where we record the podcast from live or something like that. We'll set the wheels in motion now. It can be a live special.
Amazing. We'll tear it down. We'll pose, and we'll tell Ted Turner, is that where the big boys play? Hey, whoever the Ted Turner equivalent is in wrestling law. But yeah, there you go. That'll be coming up one day, and yeah, we'll in the meantime we'll have to do with the stories. So get your 5-star match reviews in. Send those over. Catch up with housekeeping you haven't already, and yeah, look forward to that next housekeeping where we'll be running through all of our trip memories and everything like that. Coming up next, it'll be In Your House 8, but outside of that, all I've got to say is thanks for the house.